I just hit live. Hello. I don't know if anyone's going to be on. Oh, I have to go do something with Facebook. I screwed up. I screwed up on Facebook and StreamYard. I wonder if I can fix it when I'm on here. I don't think I can. I had to change my password earlier. How's everybody? Oh, there we go. See if this will work. Ta-da! Seek and you shall find. Woohoo! You're funny. How are you, Debbie? I like this rounded look. I like the rounded look. I was playing around earlier. I need something to do, like, because I don't have enough. I'm always bored. I'm always bored. Whew. How is everybody? Busy day. It was rainy and super windy, and now it's sunny and windy. But I got my appraisal in, so that's cool. Hi, Jam Cracker. Is my mic on? Yeah. You don't hear me? You don't hear me? Audio. Let me turn the mic volume up. I turned it up the whole way. Ta-da! I like to say that. Hi, Tater. Hi, Sade. Thank you very much, dear. I had radio today. It was very funny. We just talked about Christmas. We had a blast today, Scott and I, and Greg Tish, our morning show host on the station. Hey, Shelly, how are you? What is occurring? What's occurring? So I went to go see, it's Tallahassee Quarterbacks Club, where we honor local high school sports, which is it's a lot of fun. And last night, the last guest of the season was Doug Flutie. He looks like Tom Cruise. He's tiny, so tiny. So we have the opportunity to line up in queue and get a photo with Tom Cruise, with Doug Flutie. And his bio online says he's like 5'11". I'm taller than Doug Flutie. But I looked at him, he's like, puts his arm around you. I was like, you're so handsome. Can't help myself. He really is. He looks great. I think he's like 62 or 63. And I saw one of our subscribers, Rebecca, last night, and it was just a really easy, nice time. He was a fabulous speaker. So if you ever get to listen to him, he really was fabulous, talking about his life, great memories that he had, how he developed as a football player when he's so slightly built, and talks about the NIL, which is a disaster in college football, what he thinks about that. He talked about, because he won the Heisman, so he talked about winning the Heisman. It was just really good. And he mentioned the segue from Doug Flutie was, and he said it, and Rebecca was there, she's on, that you don't grow unless you have adverse experience. So he was talking about Boston College's, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, but Boston College has a quarterback that might come to Thomas Castellanos, and he might come to FSU. And he said what happened was the guy was playing, and he had a few starts, and he got benched, and he immediately went to the transfer portal, which is, to me, like, I'm going to go sit in timeout because you're not giving me what I want. And so he goes to the transfer portal and we may get him. But what he said was, which I think he talks to Thomas Castellano, so maybe he has an opportunity, was you need to learn from adversity and you need to work for something. Everyone has talent in something. I've never figured out what mine is. I'm sure there's more than one person in here that feels like that. If everyone is talented, the Lord says we all have our talents. What is mine? I don't know, and I don't worry about it. But this kid has a talent for sports, but sometimes you have to take that talent and work. You can't just have God-given talent. If you watch Celine Dion's documentary, it was to me fabulous because she's fabulous, and she constantly was before she got ill practicing her voice, constantly practicing, constantly working on it. She knows her vocal cords. She knows if she has a node. She knows if one is not expanding. She knows everything about that throat because she practices, drills, and rehearses. You can't not practice drill. You can't rely on your innate talent. You just can't. No one can. It will fade. You have to expand on it. And if it's a God-given talent, then you owe God some work to keep the talent, or you lose the talent. And that's what he, in a sense, said about Thomas Castellanos is you need to work through and overachieve. He said he worked in some cold game when he was with Canadian Football League, and he was playing for Calgary, and he had never played with gloves, and he had to wear gloves because it was so cold, and he lost. And he said the next time he had to play with gloves, he certainly knew how to throw with gloves because he spent days practicing throwing with gloves and being prepared to receive the snap with gloves on. He wasn't going to lose. Winning to him was much more important than the fact that he had to learn how to use gloves. And I thought, thank you for saying that out loud. I really feel like people don't get it. Real estate's the same way. They say, why do most realtors leave after 2 years? Because that's when friends and family stop really giving you houses. People only buy, I think the average is 3 homes in their lifetime. What are you going to do? You have to learn how to be a salesperson. It says it on your license. You're a real estate salesperson. You're not a consultant. You're not a real estate therapist. You're a salesperson. And you have to learn how to present yourself and speak properly and practice that and drill it and rehearse. I went to Toastmasters. I work really hard to not continually say really, even though sometimes I catch myself. So, okay, right? Things that we rely on when we don't know what we're saying, basically. Those are the little catches. But you have to practice that. You can't just come out of well, a few can, but you can't. I think Obama. I don't think Obama ever really had to practice. Bill Clinton, I think he has natural talent. And then he had so many opportunities to speak in front of so many thousands and thousands of people. He's just really good at it. But he practiced by being there, by having those opportunities and knowing that's coming through. So segue into Katie Cool Lady, which we're going to read the transcript of her rant, which I found on Reddit. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And she's experiencing adversity, and instead of working through it personally and maybe privately, no. She's lashing out and threatening legal, which I don't know how she's going to do it, but let's pretend I get a subpoena tomorrow from some random YouTuber. That's fine, but I'll go for discovery. And a lot of people won. 2, Fancy Fiction does it too, deletes their YouTubes, but they're still available on YouTube. So you subpoena YouTube. And then we watch you with bottles of wine drinking. Because the only thing you could say is, Katie Cool Lady, Kathy Monkman, that you're not drunk. And by my saying you're drunk, I am casting aspersions onto you that are not true. But if you got 17 bottles of wine in a picture and you're going through it on camera, slurring your words, it's going to be hard to prove. And then you have to prove, was it being malicious or being, I'm responding and I'm allowed to respond to what is being said, whether with implication, inference, mystery code, whatever that is. I'm allowed to respond, and I have each and every time. Every time you get on there, I respond. Some people would say, Patty, don't respond. Do not respond. Oh, no. That is not my way. It is not my way not to respond. It's not that I need the last word, but I will straighten out what is said about me. And I will protect those that I care about. And I care about my subscribers. Frankly, Katie, I care about your subscribers more than you care about anything. I mean, I care. I care when you trash a woman who begins with an A or a woman who begins with a D. I care when that happens because those people subscribe to me too. And I think it's an unfair position that you put subscribers in. And that's any YouTube, any TV personality, any media personality, anyone who just goes after their audience. And we've all seen it, especially when they're drunk or high. They go after the audience and act the fool because they're not in the right space. They're not in their right mind because they're relying on some sort of chemical to get them through the process. I don't rely on chemicals. Maybe I should, but I don't. And I do have the right to respond, and I'm going to. And every time you do it, I'm going to respond again. Every time I receive a threat, whether legally or implicitly, through some made-up video, I'm going to respond again. And then I'm going to take it to the next level and go back and say, look, this is why, for the record, I believe a YouTuber had to be inebriated to say that stuff. And if you're sober and saying it, that's a problem. That's a bigger problem. I would love for you to be in a 12-step program to get help, whatever that is. You worked in psych. I think it's important to have people to talk to instead of YouTube rants. It's not your therapy. It will harm you in the long term. And you have to work through that adversity. And sometimes it's really important to apologize. It really is. Apologies will get you so far in life. Even if, let's pretend you don't think you really did anything wrong. You believe it was the subscriber or me handing you a gift, handing True Lifestyle, Susan, a gift for you. You think that was just absolutely abhorrent to even think about giving you a gift. Let's pretend that's the case. It's still nice to do, even if you don't believe it, even if you only believe 40%. It is still nice to apologize. I am married. I've been married this time, how long? 2003, 21 years. And sometimes I apologize when I don't always mean it, shockingly. But you know what? It means a lot to him. It means everything to him because his love language is verbal. So it's really important when I say I'm sorry to have some sincereness behind it, right? And then he hears it, and that is to him love. So I'm filling his cup. Sometimes just for yourself, you need to apologize to people and say, you know what? I could have been wrong. I could have been a little bit more less crass. I could have been a lot of things. And I took it and I was not in my, I didn't get enough sleep. I had low blood sugar, whatever you want to call it. And just say you're sorry. Now, I know you wrote a letter to me that I didn't even have the decency to read, but because before I could read it, I knew you contradicted yourself on Instagram. So what was the point of reading it? To piss me off? because that's all it would have done. And I'm a person who does not intentionally go to hear things because I'm auditory, or read things because I have a great memory that will stay with me and only bring up anger. And I just choose not to do it. So I thought it would be fun today to read what you say about me, inferring, and like your turtle boy. Seriously, that's what it's like. And although I said a couple times here, talk about bark collars, which there's two ways of thinking on that, because I've been reading about it, which I probably should have read it before I said anything, but it kind of pissed me off that a puppy has a dog collar on. And it said exactly what I thought. It says young puppies are still learning and developing. Using a bark collar for puppies too early may impede their understanding of appropriate behavior. Generally, it is recommended to wait until the puppy is at least 6 months old before the puppy bark collar. Secondly, consider the puppy's size and temperament. Some breeds or individual puppies may be more sensitive to certain types of bark collars for puppy. Choosing a collar that's appropriate for the size and temperament is crucial. Before resorting to a bark collar, maybe learn your dog. It is important to determine the cause of the excessive barking. It's just like when a baby cries. Some people let the baby self-soothe because that's important. Babies have to self-soothe because we can't be there forever. Sometimes it's hunger, sometimes it's cold, sometimes, I'll tell you a story. My daughter, we were baptizing her in the Catholic Church, and she was just, she had her baptismal gown on and a blanket, and she was screaming. It was March, so it was really cold out in Pennsylvania. I put her snowsuit on because it was cold. She stopped crying. She was cold. Now, I was a new mom. I was 21 years old. I didn't know that, but I learned it real quick. That scream meant she was cold or uncomfortable in some way. And that's what you need to learn when you have a puppy. I've never had a puppy until Roscoe, but I read as much as I could, and I'm not going to lie. I was extremely frustrated. He was pissing all the time. I was like, what am I doing? He is literally having to piss like every half hour. I'm like, I have to work. This is insane. I took him to the vet like 3 times. Like, why is this dog pissing so much? And it was just because that's what he did. He just wanted to go outside. Come to learn, he needed to go outside quickly to learn to sniff. So I learned that from one of my clients, the one who moved, I talk about them, they moved to Cyprus. The wife is Ukrainian, and she was explaining to me, she had dogs, puppies, that the dog has to learn to sniff. They need to learn where to mark their ground. It's innate, but they need to practice it, because they're babies. So I was like, oh, okay, thank you. So I could calm down that there wasn't anything wrong with my dog. But one bark means he has to go out. Last night, we had a horrible storm around 5 o'clock in the morning, and the dog just freaked out. Well, I listened to the dog because you know why? Don't cry. May 10th, that dog and its bark telling Chris to get out of that bed saved his life, saved my husband's life. If you put a bark collar on, you got trees around your house. If you put a bark collar on your dog and he can't bark because he's being shocked, you could die in your bed. My husband could have been literally cut up around the throat because we put a bark collar on the car because I didn't want to be nuisance or inconvenienced. Come on. So I would never do that to my dog because I need to know what he says. He can sense things I can't sense. And he clearly sensed things that a tornado was coming through our house that Chris couldn't sense. So before you just immediately, I can't be bothered to do anything other than crate train and take him out or train him to not bark in inappropriate ways. Think about, you could die in your bed because you put a bark collar on your dog. You got to learn the dog. You got to give him a little bit of space. I was nervous because I was like, God, this dog, there's got to be something wrong if you're pissing that often. Should I control when his water intake is? And the vet's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. Just calm down. I was like, okay. I could calm down, and then the dog did better because I did better, and Chris did better. So it's just a little bit, but if you intend as the subscriber to put a bark collar on your puppy, please don't tell me. And don't tell anyone on Reddit, because they're literally trashing this person for putting a bark collar on their dog and bragging about it. I mean, it's shock, lady. You're shocking your puppy. It's not like you've got like some random feral Rottweiler that could chew your kid up. You don't have any kids around. I mean, kind of you do. But still, think about it before you put it on a puppy. Anyway, I do have over 5,000. So I don't look at this. Hold on one second. I really don't look at it. I do. Oh my God, thank you for telling me. I had no idea. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you, Polly Want a Cracker. Thank you very much. I had no idea. Thank you. I don't know. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I do. Hi, Mia. How are you? I'm having a fabulous day. Patty, I mentioned yesterday he used to play in the CFL for the Calgary Stampeders. We love him. So he loves Calgary. Like, he loves Canada. He said he won 3 Grey Bowls, which is like our Super Bowl. And he could not have spoke more highly of Canada and their reception of him, because he was the first quarterback to come from the United States and play. And he's so slight. But he said he has natural arm power, because his arms really aren't any more built up now than they were. He said he always had to work on his leg strength. We're talking about Doug Flutie, but arm strength came natural to him. It's very interesting. Hi, Patty. Love those jail calls with Melody. How'd you get these? Would love to hear more. Well, guess what? So there are only 3. The other one is just I'm gonna put it up. But it's just her trying to call Rusty, and he wasn't home, and it went to voicemail. But she was smart. So Melody Walker Ferris is now going through Allendale State Prison in Georgia, which is in Alto, Georgia, kind of northeast of Gainesville, which is kind of northeast further on away from Alpharetta, but not too far. And if somebody wanted to go visit her, she probably can't take visitors right now. But there were only 3. So there was a list of about 20. But most of them were hangups. And I just did a FOIA request. So I did a Freedom of Information Act. And the call detail was redacted. So no names, no phone numbers, unlike Florida. But that's how I got it. And I paid for it. Does anyone know if you can hear this live and put on another YouTube? I have to finish a crow project. I don't know. I don't know if you can, Debbie. You love my rant, apparently. Someone did, because I don't know, got a few hundred subscribers out of it, which is odd to me. I don't think it's an attractive thing to rant. I don't think it's something that is pretty. I would never watch it again. I would never watch it, because I don't want to see myself like that. But when this is just YouTube. It's not supposed to be so damn serious that lives are being threatened. It's just not. It's supposed to be fun. And that's how I take it. I have fun when I do this, but I really don't like being threatened. It's a problem. Bilbo's Hairy Toes says, hi, everyone. That's so funny. I have no idea what this is about, but I'm here for it. Well, I'm going to read it to you, because the people at Reddit, bless their hearts, the internet is forever. It really is. If you're going to say something and you're going to delete it, I mean, it's not like you're Jay-Z. It is going to be around forever. Hey, Bling, how are you feeling? Hi, Kazati. If I missed your name, please I'm sorry. I'm really working to say everyone's names. I really appreciate it. Oh, I have talent, Lady Patty. Thank you so much. I want to pull this up too. I can read a chat and talk at the same time. Thank you, Debbie. I know other people can't do it because I've seen it, but I can read a chat and talk at the same time. So, hi, the two again. Hi, Mia. I've said that, I believe. Kaza. I saw that, BS. I don't understand. Why does it always have to do with real estate? Always gives us a bad name. Stop raping people. Debbie says, I'm Canadian and do not like. I know you like the NFL and you like the Bills. Well, Doug Flutie played for the Bills. It's really, and from what I gather, one of the subscribers that was there, her fiance brought his Buffalo Bills jacket and Doug Flutie signed it. So Terrell Owens, he was, I love Terrell Owens because he's absolutely hilarious, but he had no time for any of that. We only could, it was the professional photographer that always takes photos for the quarterbacks club, and you couldn't take cell phone photos. That's what I was going to get to. So you know how Bobby said I was like a transvestite? I'm not even going to share it because I'm going to try Photoshop a little bit. But last night, my hair was, compared to Doug Flutie, my hair was unreasonably high. It was windy last night, and I had to pick it out before I went to the building. So a friend of mine took my phone and took photos of myself with Doug Flutie after I told him he was so handsome. So I had a big old smile, and I look like a pure trans bingo vestite. Like, I looked pure transvestite. My makeup, everything. I was like, Bobby, where are you? So much the transvestite. I was like, Patty, just wait till the other photos come out. It was so funny. Press like and subscribe. Thank you, Debbie. So funny. Did you see the presser on the Florida real estate twins? I didn't see the presser, but I did see that they were arrested. I did. You have to be a salesman in most professions. Thank you. And you're on commission. So if you're in a right to work state like we are, you're on commission. You are. Because that job can be gone at any minute. If you don't do your job, make your quotas, do it, work a full 8 hours or 7.5 hours, you can be let go. And you got no recourse in Florida. So you are working on commission. You really are. And this one little thing I learned a long time ago, change the way you look at things, and things you look at change. It's also like, you could be right, that you're going to lose your job and you won't have anything. If you don't keep your skills up, if you don't keep trying, if you don't ask, can I do better? I just have been, so you don't know this, but I've been applying and to be an investigator, like an intern at these large investigative statewide companies. I just am practicing. And I haven't been on a job interview in 20 years, 23 years. So it's fun for me. ChatGPT did my resume. I have my 1 degree, waiting on the second one. It was super fun to be able to go do it. And everything looked good. I know it's ageism, but I'll be fine with it. Everything looked good. They were telling me, yes, we want to do an interview. Never called me back. I can speak intelligently. I know the topic. I can demonstrate that my knowledge of the topic, but I'm older. I have gray hair. And they're like, okay, well, thank you. We're going to keep your application open. Really? You know that? So I responded back because I'm going to respond. And I said, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Would you mind giving me general feedback of what my resume, any credentials that I would need to have the opportunity to work for you? And the gentleman said, let me get something together and I'll send something back to you. I'm still waiting. But I did respond, and it would be interesting to know that. It would be interesting. But you are absolutely a salesperson. Casey, oh, yuck. Hi, Barb. How are you? I'm dead. Wait, dude. That's why Diddy and Jay-Z are not suing all the does for defamation. You have to prove it. You have to have discovery. You have to have discovery. So I don't know if all of you know, but CNN is being sued for defamation. Nunes, who's a politician, Devin Nunes, is suing CNN for $435 million. The suit was filed on the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia under the docket. Other people are now suing them. Where is it? Where's the current one? Robinson, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson's defamation lawsuit against CNN will yield new information. And they're letting that go. They're letting it go. The judge is like, yep, we're going. But you know what you get? You get discovery. I think that's why CNN is letting go of Allison Camerata, who just lost her husband, I think, to Parkinson's, was just released to the industry. We'll see why. That's why on The View now, you have to read, like Pete Hegseth. They were going after Pete Hegseth. And Sunny, what's her face? Sunny Hostin is now, every time she says something half-assed and stupid, she has to read a legal document that says there's been no validation of what I just said. I just said it because I felt like it, basically. And she has to read from the ABC attorneys, which is Disney attorneys. It's very funny to me. You got to be careful, but I do have a right to defend myself. And I will. And if you appear drunk, unless you have some brain tumor or something, you appear drunk. I mean, there's just no getting around it. There are times I'm on here that I would absolutely love to have a drink. Okay, I would love to have a drink, but I don't, because A, you're on camera. It's not, someone got mad at me because I had gum in my mouth for 10 seconds. You're on camera. You don't want to do that. Everyone has the right to defend. Hi, Jane, crime junkie. How are you? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for bringing that up, that we're all sales commission and we're all salespeople. It is 6 months. I mean, it's a baby. A puppy is a baby. And you care because you're a decent human being. Well, thank you, Shelly. That means a lot. Shelly lives locally, and I know Shelly, but thank you very much. Hi, true crime girl. Hey, Katie, cool lady at the like button. So ridiculous. Didn't have to be like this. I have a dog with separation anxiety. We don't go anywhere. I'm staying put. Go, Betty, go. Thanks, Granny. We're going to read some Reddit. That's what we're going to read. Drinking makes you smarter, Patty. Oh, yeah. I don't know what you're drinking, but it ain't alcohol. This is so dumb. People do it on TikTok. They do it on Facebook. They do it. So I drove Truscott with Erica, my assistant, in the car. I drove. She held the phone. I spoke. I did audio afterwards and uploaded it. I'm not going to be that person because I have 2 Facebook groups. One's called Living Tallahassee, the complaints department. And the other one is called Tallahassee Bad Drivers. I don't want to be in them other than for parking. I'm a fantastic parker. I just park where I want. So those people like myself, lines are an idea to me, especially when I'm parking at the end of a lot. Lines are just a suggestion. So, but you'll end up in these 2 Facebook groups. So I really don't want to. But I don't drive and stream at the same time. I do have, you know, have you ever watched Jerry Seinfeld riding in cars with comedians and then drinking coffee or something in that order? And they have GoPros mounted everywhere. But he's just having a conversation. He's not looking down at a phone. They're literally, I think I counted in one car that I could see 6 GoPros mounted in the car. So they're taking different cuts and they're piecing it together. They're not live streaming while driving. Oh, definitely she's watching. Everybody watches. Everyone watches Patty rant. Funny, as we get older, we tolerate less BS and speak up. Yeah, for me, that started around 45, 50 was fabulous. Once my kids moved away and I didn't feel like I would be embarrassing them every time I opened my mouth, which I probably still do, embarrass them, I was like, screw it. I'm just going to say what I want. Mia says, there is nothing wrong with ranting, but why not rant to a spouse and friends? Why post your rage rants to online strangers whom you've blocked from providing feedback? I know. It's cowardice. I always have my comments open. I always leave the comments on the lives, because I don't know how to turn it off. But I learned from the comments. People tell me. There's things I can't have 360-degree knowledge. I need feedback. I thrive on feedback. And it's important for me. Showing a home, listing a home. What is the feedback? What did I do wrong? How does it smell? What does it look like? Can you pull in easily? I did a preview of a home for one of our agents. Gave her the feedback in a list. This is what I would do. One included, it's a row of 4 townhomes. She's an interior unit. The whole pad needs pressure washed. It's got that gray, slimy lichens on the concrete. I said, you may not want to do it. I would do it. I would pressure wash the entire pad. You can't just pressure wash one piece, but it's actually an insurance issue because it's so slick when you walk down, and it's a turn off because it's gray and it looks unkept. So I told her, do the whole thing. I told her, I've known her for 23 years. I told her everything that I would tell anyone else. And I like that. I enjoy learning from other people. And I do it in a respectful way. I mean, I'm going to trash. Like, I remember Allison, it was just a couple of days ago, from My Father's Alibi. And I was trashing, I don't know, Charlie's house, Karen Reed's house. I'm trashing someone's house. And she's like, oh, I feel self-conscious about mine. 2 things. You're not a murderer. And your house isn't listed for sale. When your home is on the market, like going back to what Debbie Martin says, when your home is on the market, it's on the market. It's no different than if I walked into TJ Maxx and there was shit all over the floor. Like everything got tossed. You can't work in there. You can't sell in there. You can't buy in there. It's the same idea. I know people are attached to their homes. For me, it's a product. It happens to be your home, but I'm selling a product I don't even own. Do you know how hard it is to sell something you don't own? It's really damn hard. So I have to be observant about it, casual, and honest, because I have no control over the price or the condition or the market itself. I have no control over those 3 things. So when you're in that home, you have to be on a scale of 0 to 10. How honest can I be with you? They say 10 and I say 10 like this. And they're like, no, don't be like, more like 7. I was like, fair. Like if I walked up to you and my husband walked up, I'm like, dude, you're fat. Was that okay? And they're like, no. All right, 7. You meant 10, but you don't mean 10. But I mean 10. I want to know. Apologies and humility would go a long way. I mess up. I mess up all the time. I mess up scheduling this. I mess up with my verbiage. I mess up. Arguing with a narcissist is like playing chess with a pigeon. They'll just shit all over your board and strut around like they won anyway. I know. Because they look good, be right. But there's a reason why this group of people post a video, take down a video. Post a video, take down a video. Fancy Fiction does it. I think she took her off now anyway. According to Reddit, it's no longer there. There's a reason why. If you have to post and take down, somebody told you, hey, you might not want to have said that. I have no issues apologizing. I have issues apologizing to my husband, but I intentionally apologize to him because even when I don't believe it, because it's so important to him. So I do it. Keep the peace. Let the man know I love him. I get snarky at work because people think I can perform miracles. You probably can. That's the problem. If you go in on high standards and you're constantly doing everything, that's going to be the expectation. So you got to go mid-level. Mid-level is still better than most. Hit the like button. Thank you. Hi, Susan Aikens. How are you? I knew a Susan Aikens long, long time ago. It's not really Susan Aikens anymore. She's been married. I'm sorry this whole thing happened, especially to our generous friend, Debbie. I know. And it's not just her. I mean, there's Arlene. God, if I could figure out that Airbnb host, I've tried. I'm still trying to figure it out. I look every once in a while to see if there's a home that's on Airbnb or VRBO that's on a flower farm where I can go pick my flowers and be in the heart space. Mia says, Patty the Grifter is asserted constantly. She will not ignore criticism and rather will highlight it and broadcast it because the best way to handle it seems fair that you have some prerogative. I think so. Thank you, Mia. Appreciate it. I love your heart and how you stand up for yourself, animals, and others. Oh, I think it's a blessing and a curse. Because I will like yesterday, I was driving down to Doak Campbell Stadium, which is where the event was held. And there was this girl. You could tell she was having a car trouble, but she was kind of catty corner. And this road is called Old St. Augustine, and it's only 2 lanes, and it's canopied. So it's the road and then ditches on both sides, and she was kind of going into the ditch. So I put my hazard lights, and I went in front of her because I thought if someone's going to hit me, they're going to hit her first. I'm not stupid. So I go pull in front of her, put my hazards on. I wait for a break, get out, go to her car, tell her not to get out right now because nobody was paying attention. They're just flying through, even though there's a car half-assed into the road. And she said, I ran out of gas. And I said, well, let's call non-emergency. Law enforcement will bring a tank of gas and get you off the road and move over. She said, no, I just want to push my car over. I'm like, girl, you can't just push your car. You're going to end up in this ditch. I said, you're by yourself and I cannot push your car right now. I have to go. But I can call someone for you. She said, no. And she didn't even know where her hazard lights were. She was a wreck. She was like shaking. And I was like, do you need money? What do you need? And I'm standing in the ditch. And she said, actually, my license is suspended. So I can't have law enforcement come. I said, well, do you want me to call AAA? Like, who do you want me to call? She's like, no. I'm just going to push it over. I was like, okay, girl, you're insisting on pushing this car. So I'm going to go, but I'm going to block traffic for you for a few minutes. And then you push the car. She went into the ditch. I was like, I said, law enforcement runs this road all the time. The first thing I said when she said her license was suspended, I said, well, that's stupid. That's stupid. She goes, it was an accident, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, girl, you're just making your life worse. But I told her she didn't need money, she told me. And she wanted me, I'm not pushing the car into a ditch. And then being responsible because it went into the ditch. So that wasn't happening. But I tried to help. I had to leave. Couldn't watch it. Could not watch it. Tim Jansen says he's very good friends with her. Oh, I'm sure. He's such a nice man. He really is. That he probably knows when someone needs a friend is my guess. You know, there are those people, they don't live near each other, but they're friends and they know they may not, like if they were here all the time, they wouldn't be friends. But distance-wise, they are, and they can maintain their distance. You know what I'm saying? But he's a very nice person. Hi, Gladys Kravitz. How are you? Debbie said, I've had dogs and cats since I was a child, and they are babies. We treat them like human kids. Yeah, I know you do. I do not treat Roscoe, well, kind of like a human kid. I'm like borderline on that, but I know he's still a dog. I don't. It's like Pavlov's dog. If you prevent a bark, they're denying their instinct to protect you. A dog barks when someone comes to the door. I know. And all I could think of is the dog, her dog, is neglected, emotionally neglected. Not neglected like she's not feeding it or watering or whatever, but sometimes, especially the smaller breeds, need hugs. They need to be on your lap. Roscoe, I took a picture, but I won't. Last night, he must have known the storm was coming. He slept at my shoulder, which he never does. He's usually at my feet. He slept at my shoulder the entire night. I couldn't sleep. But he's like this against me, like he's a human. But I know he needed to be there because if I moved him, he came right back. He just needs to be up against me. And they need that. Some people just maybe haven't learned it yet or heard it from a professional, but dogs, my dog, especially small breed, needs to be held a lot. Needs me to rub his face, needs me to scratch his under chin. They need that. I know someone whose dog has one. I cringe when they press that button, like unlocking their car door. She claims it's just a dog. It is just a dog in a lot of ways, but it's also a dog that has emotions and feelings. It doesn't want to be electrically shocked. Try a dachshund, Patty, when it gets cold. One of ours just looks at me like, no way, Mama, you better put a pad down. Oh, yeah. Roscoe, he won't go on a pad. He never really did. It's always been a mat. Like that part of it was just horrible. But now he's perfect. He's really perfect at it. So years ago, just gave a shock when the dog barked. I didn't know you can control it. Yeah, you can. My son has, I always get this name wrong. What is it? German short-haired pointers, right? I think that's what it is. Beautiful. Maisel and Merlin, perfect names. They have 3 dogs. They have a white Labrador Retriever. It's the white. Beautiful. And 2 German short-haired pointers. One is Maisel, one is Merlin. Lizzie is very good at naming dogs. So Millie, Maisel, Merlin. And my son, because they're like goats, I mean, just will jump a fence, like go. He has a collar on them, but it's a radio. So it can go like 2 miles away. So if the dog gets out, he knows where the dog is. And they camp. Their way of life is basically in a fifth wheel. So he has to do that in case the dog gets out. That's all he has on his. And it's very expensive, but very smart. So with the dogs were expensive. I also would never put a pee pad in their sleeping place. My dog just wouldn't use them. I don't know if it's the texture or something. Gladys says, I love when Patty reads to us. That's funny. I have Chico, the Chihuahua Beagle mix. Oh my. And you just have to look at them, train them from a puppy to know your voice and know you're serious. Like my husband is wishy-washy. I am the stern parent and he is the, I'll give you whatever you want because you're a cute parent. I was like, Chris, I said, talk to the dog like you talk to me. Be firm. No, Patty. I know. Such a mouse. It wasn't a baby. Throughout its life, she would argue with the neighbor about their dog barking. No one wants to hear the neighbor's dog. You know how really hard to sell a house when the neighbor's dog is barking. Really, really hard. Thank you. I try to be funny. But sometimes I just say things that really should be filtered. Thank you. I had no idea until she brought that up. I had no idea. So thank you all for subscribing. I really, really appreciate it. Oh, Epstein's book he didn't respond. He didn't respond. And I also asked about, I'm going to try it. And all they can do is ding me for it. It's 34 Fairview, the podcast, Karen Reed. I'm here for the gossip. Please, Patty, please don't let me down. Well, thank you for becoming a member, Jeannie. I really appreciate it. Love your honesty. You're amazing. Love your chats from Glasgow. Oh, God, I bet it's cold there. I didn't cover it yet. Doug Flutie's Hail Mary pass for completion is one of the most amazing passes in college football history, in your opinion. He said he had 3 Hail Marys and no one knows about the other 2. Well, I think a big deal was no one likes Miami except Miami fans. And this is his quote. And he was playing against Miami. So, it was a time when national football wasn't, or college football wasn't on all the time like it is now. You've been watching my subscriber count more than you. Aw, thank you. Thank you. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. Wanted to go through a little bit of a forest. She would not let me go look down a little bit further where the 3 guys smoking. Who knows what would have happened? I bet. How do I gift memberships? 'Tis this season. Admin will be able to help you. I don't know how. Thank you for getting those calls. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. There's really only 2, and then there's a 1-minute call where it's the jail recording and Rusty's voicemail overlapping each other. So I'm not even going to be able to put captions on it. I'll put it up in the morning. Who hung up on who? I don't know what you mean. I think what Melody was, she was the caller and she was hanging up on these people, according to that call log. What you do when you rant is you speak what others are thinking, and people do love drama. And I had no idea. When I got pissed about the owl necklace and got pissed about poor Arlene and who's Arlene. And, I owe Arlene a gift, but the United States Post Office is douching me up. And I'm having a hard time mailing her a gift, which I promised her, to Canada. So let me know if the lines from the post office, I have to go Friday and take another box because I have to ship some items to my daughter. And I want to send her this package, which I promised her, but I guess there's a strike somewhere. Patty, you may rant, but your rants are heartfelt and passionate. I forget what I even say. Not that I'm blindly ranting, but I'm speaking so quickly that I don't retain it, I think. She's so mentally unwell. How does she lack total self-awareness? Well, I believe she's hurt by what I'm saying. I think that's why. I think she's really hurt by it. And I mean Katie Kool-Aid. I'm not going to be blind about it. I think she is hurt. And I'm sorry she's hurt. But you are hurting people. And I think you're hurt overall. I think your soul is hurt. I don't know if that's defamation, but I think your soul is hurt. And while your soul is hurt, you lash out because hurting people hurt. So a lot of my, if I sit back in my Pisces February birth, think about it, I have tons of empathy. But the other side of it is you're hurting people, and I'm not an enabler. And I guarantee you the subscribers I have are not enablers. And Reddit is definitely not an enabler. This is a hard life being on YouTube. You have to expose yourself where you may not feel comfortable. But in return, you get paid a little bit of money. You get a little bit of notoriety. People learn to like you and trust you. But in return for that, you're going to get feedback you may not be prepared for. Oh, be shy. Wish I had some M&Ms to eat while listening. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Thank you very much. That is so funny. No one on YouTube interacts more with their chat during the shows than you do. Really? Again, I don't have time to watch a lot of people. I know Gray Hughes tries, but he has a bigger audience. He does try. He talks randomly. He doesn't post a comment right here. He doesn't do that very often. So it may be a challenge for him. The man has so much data in his head that it may be a challenge to read the chat and talk on the screen at the same time. I don't know. You are Canadian and do not like football, but my son is a huge Ravens fan. Well, I apologize for that. I'm an Eagles fan, so no, Ravens. I had my dad, one of his best friends, loved the Ravens. They were from Baltimore. They were from Baltimore. Just loved it so much. Patty's occurring. That's cute. Thank you. Let's see. Hello, Lieber. How are you? Keeper of Goofy and Yala too. How are you, Eric? Trans Bingo Vestite. I mean, have you ever been to Transvestite Bingo? It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I went in Dunedin, Florida, with my friend Deborah. Pure hilarity. I laughed so hard. I love risque, and it was super risque, obviously, and just fun. Just really fun. But I looked at last night and I had no idea. It's like, damn, Patty. Patty made the trio into a piñata. That's the reason they are pissed. Hey, Jibs and Jabs, how are you? DG has an important cat. This is my stress relief. You don't like being called goofy. Oh, Yala. Right? Who doesn't love Rocky Horror Picture Show? Boy, do I have memories of that. Going down in South Philly to watch it. Because it aired. I wonder if that theater is still there. Hold on. In South Philly, there was a theater that literally aired Rocky Horror Picture Show every day. Every night. Ensemble Arts. Landmark, maybe it's this. Landmark on Walnut Street, Landmark Ritz 5. But we would go. When I was at Temple, we would go constantly and watch Rocky Horror. It was great. I loved your rant because it was appropriate. Well, thank you. I hate to rant when I'm not appropriate. Maybe KCL could identify as transparent. Patricia, not much gets past you. So we don't have to say her name anymore. Not gets past you. Age discrimination, right? Ageism. I always think of the poem when I see your name. I read it, Raven. Years ago in high school, not sure if they would still make the kids read poetry nowadays. I used to eat a pack before my runs in Penn Station on my way home. Great memories. Or a Snickers bar. CNN deserves to be sued. I mean, they do it a lot. But you have to prove, in Florida, where the occurrence would have occurred, you have to prove so much, because my guess is before you took your YouTube down and switched your YouTube, which is of your own doing, no one asked you to do it, that you had more followers than I did. And so did Rob, Society Page, and so did what's her face, Fancy Fiction. Y'all had more than I did. So taking your YouTube down and putting it back up and taking it down is no one's fault but your own. You could have turned that shit around and made it even bigger, but no, you had to be an asshole. And that's not defamation. The Covington Catholic school kids sued CNN for defamation several years ago and got multi-million dollars. I remember that. And I remember Jules, Richard Jules. So much news is going on right now. It is crazy. And I know a few people are concentrating on Luigi. I am not. I think there's some weird stuff going on. I don't believe every story that I'm being told about it until I see it. And I really want to know how many other murders occurred in New York City that same day. Not that that man doesn't deserve justice, but so does every other person or child of someone that was murdered in New York City on that same day. And I guarantee they're not getting it. And now, when I rant, the FBI doesn't want to pay the tipster because they called 911 instead of the tip line. So Chris Wray, head of the FBI, resigned today, Bless his heart. And I hope someone has the decency to fix that. Because I would have called 911 too instead of the tip line. You've got a murderer right in front of you, allegedly, with weapons on him. Oh, my eyelash is stuck. With weapons on him, and you're going to call a tip line instead of that? That's just a loophole that needs to be fixed. $60,000. I'll be damned if anyone else ever calls in. Raven, when I was coming up with my YouTube name, that photo came up and I went with it. A raven. I would never use a bark collar, says Blackhawk. She shouldn't have gotten a puppy dog. She needs to work on herself. She's a very, very unstable person. What is my hairstyle called, Zach? I don't know. For me, it's asymmetrical, but I don't know that there is a name. I don't know. It's a prime example when you got a puppy that you should have gotten a cat. But some cats really want attention. My husband's cat, because that's what that is, tally cat, we call it. Oh man, she's all up on Chris's grill. She doesn't have time for me. It's a girl. And, woo. Bark collars should be sold in family sizes. I know. Sometimes you got to cut your own mouth before you tell it someone else to. Howdy, Zach. If the dog has to wear a bark collar, it's only fair that she wear a muzzle. That's fair. 50 is the best. 55 was even better than 50. It really was. I hate saying it out loud, when both my parents passed, because I always wanted to do something like this, but I would never have done it or talked the way I do while my parents were alive. I just wouldn't have done it. And then my children, when they left, because they're judging, that against me, lovingly, they just want the best for me. They don't want me to be hurt or threatened, when that happened. But I wouldn't have done it with my parents alive. It wouldn't have happened. So it is a lot more freeing. She's breaking the laws in Pennsylvania every time she decides to create content while driving. That is true. That is true. Never tell the internet you don't know how to do something. That's asking for trolling. I love how interactive you are with us. Why try? I think I'm good at it. I'm better at it than I was a year ago. November, it's been 13 months. I'm still learning more about YouTube and how the channel works and algorithm and hashtags. And I still am not good about putting hashtags in. I'm working on it. Time was not my friend, but I'm off for a month. So my rant, when I see adults holding hands with toddlers and walking at an adult pace, the child is running. How would you like to run everywhere? Oh, my husband has that with me. My husband is 6'3". He has very long legs. You would think he could keep up with me. Nope. He's always behind. Come on, Chris. Let's go. Chop, chop. Me slowing down to walk with him, I think, takes more energy than him speeding up. I'm going to read it. I just wanted to say hi to everybody. The constant taking down of videos to anybody. I just don't understand. What's his face does that too, mentor lawyer. But he makes a lot more money than they do. It actually does feel good to take about accountability for one's actions. Oh, hyper-focused. Hyper-focused is what she meant. Managing expectations is important. You don't want to go in too high. You got to slow it in, because otherwise they're going to always expect that level of work out of you. Who pays for staging of a home? The seller. They pay. The seller pays. She came back too early. Well, she said she wasn't going to come back, and then she did because she couldn't help it. And then she was on the Instagram, and I just don't like Instagram. It's really a bitch to work their out. I don't even know they have an algorithm. I sometimes think Zuck is like, it's like my redheaded stepchild. Okay, let me go. Okay, so here you go. Hyper focused on their phone. Let me see. I think I'm ready. Wesley's here. Wesley, hi, Wesley. How are you? Eat with candy. You have 2 little Maltese puppies. They need lots of love. So I have a question. So I thought about getting a Maltese for my Maltese. How much work is it? Roscoe's so good. And he's 2 and 5 months, 2.5 now, basically. And I just don't know if I'm emotionally prepared for another one. But I think it would be good for the dog. Hi, hey, Jude. Okay, so let's go to it. So let's go. I don't see anything else new. But thank you for the subscriptions. I mean, people subscribing to me. So I had to go to the Reddit. So funny. And this is where I found... I don't know who these people are, but I have to thank them. I do have to thank them. So Reddit is kind of 2 months ago, 2 days ago, 2 months ago, 1 day ago. Oh, stop it. See, this could be discombobulated because I don't have this in order. So let me see if I can get... Oh, she has it in parts. Okay, good. So let me give credit where credit's due. Okay, and I'm going to be looking at my screen here while this goes on. I'm going to be looking at the screen that I have to the right of me that airs. And I hope she's not mad at me by saying her name online, but the beauty of Reddit is no one really knows who you are. Okay. I'm going to share the screen. And it might be discombobulated. I hope it's not, but it could be. But there's some video to go along with. People are so funny. People are so much funnier than me. And the award for best in show. I might start laughing. Bear with me, okay? Do I have enough drink? Okay. Goes to episode December 9, 2024. So apparently, I haven't been able to see it, but apparently she's in a bathroom putting on makeup. Someone is going on, well, I will defend this, saying that she's of an age where she's probably using drugstore makeup. I want you to know that my eye makeup comes from the Dollar Tree. It's true. My foundation is LA Colors, as cheap as you can get. That is at CVS. Where I spend my money is on mascara because my eyes itch so bad after being on screen all day. And eyebrow because I get my eyes microbladed and then I use a special eyebrow powder. And lipstick. I don't use cheap lipstick because I don't like the stickiness of it. But I do use Dollar Tree eye makeup. Isn't that crazy? $1.25. Okay, and I have a bunch of it. Like I have stacks of the same thing because I like to wear the same color all the time. So today she goes, today's video is hands down best in show, raging in the bathroom while slapping on makeup to that angry mug of hers. And I have to approve some of these as I go because I haven't been on here a long time. To that angry mug of hers, pure gold. So here's her insights, upvotes, 100%. The way she intersperses her makeup tips while ranting is remarkable. Approving. I knew she pulled out the Wet n Wild foundation. This is no makeup tutorial. I would use the same thing if they had my shade. Like, I'm not spending a lot of money. I have spent a lot of money, like Clinique and Tarte, whatever. It never did any better than what I wear now. This is really cheap drugstore stuff. So I tried Estee Lauder. It gives me like hives. I can't. And people are just absolutely making fun of her. So here it goes, Slave to the Rhythm. And she has basically the transcript. She was able to screenshot it. Hello, I'm going to do a little quick get ready with me situation with my makeup because I'm headed out to do some fun things today. And I just have a little brief moment here. So I don't have any of my little suction cup things. So it's going. To be to the side, so sorry about that, but I will tell you some of these products, and I'm also going to get something off my chest today that I probably am the only time I'm going to address this, but I'm going to address it. I have to breathe. Today, briefly, this is not going to be the focus of this channel. I have been avoiding addressing this stuff directly for months, and I need to say something. We're going to start with this Wet n Wild tint hydrator that I love. This is, and then someone says, thank you, save the history, and then there's her photo at the time. My foundation that I love, many of you saw, what happened on my other channel this fall. I'm not going to detail it, you know, what happened. So out there watching me think I deserve that I didn't, and I'm not going to go into any kind of explanation or defending myself or anything. I didn't. It got scary for me because they started coming after our kid. So that's when I drew the line, got legal advice, looked at our options, and decided to unplug it. Wasn't worth it. As somebody said to me, I've gotten a lot of support during this by people who know me in real life, who actually know me. None of them have abandoned me, not. And then she deleted it. So we got to go to the next one. It's in different parts. So funny. Ranting, solid gold, ranting in the bathroom, part 2. And talks about the pictures, devastating. Okay, I approved it. Because there was a livelihood being pursued and great affected, I have the means that I could go after some of these people. I do, but I don't want to get down in the mud, and I want to detach from this mentality completely, which is what I've done. I mean, I told people do, and then there's photos. Not respond to this online, do not defend me online. Anybody that communicated with me and sent me something that got response, I don't send me stuff. I stopped reading it months ago. I have never gone into any of these venues to read any of the stuff. I do know some things that have tricked to me. Occasionally, they try to show up and troll me in private, my email, or, you know, different places. These cowards create false names and show up to say, I think I, photo spread. If anyone ever does this to me, just don't tell me. Just don't tell me. I don't want to know. Think at this point, I'm probably a serial killer who eats dogs or something, you know. I mean, this stuff that, or a heroin user. At this point, I mean, the ridiculousness that some people out there are willing to believe. I'm still, more photos, screenshots. Joy. You know, I wore a shirt the other day that said love. About, and I don't know what's going to happen around this. I just know without awareness, there is no choice. And I'm bringing awareness to it in this video. And put my citrine necklace on. Let me show you. Citrine necklace. Cute new sweatshirt because I'm going to the cookie party tonight. This is where I have to breathe. Not an alcoholic, by the way. Wasn't then, not now, unless I'm the type of alcoholic that Maya's husband 2 nights ago says, can we finally pour out this half bottle of champagne that's been sitting in our refrigerator since Thanksgiving because we each had one. Mimosa. Each had one mimosa. Yeah, I mean, think whatever you want to think about me, but that's just false. And if you're willing, which some of you were willing to believe that about me, then you're willing to believe the whole package about me. And that's just sad that you're that thinking face. Oh man, I gotta go to the next line. Damn. Next. Part 3. See, it's all broken up because she had no choice. Part 3. She's done now. I wonder how KCL. Oh, they're talking about me, knowing that I heard about this. And I'm doing this video knowing that is probably doing that, but I'm bringing awareness to the rest of you that are out there that following true crime, that this is a thing now. And if you're following other true crime survivors out there, you are now having a platform and sharing stuff that's very likely has happened to them or will happen to them by some of the same people that came after me, and a lot of what is spread just full-blown lies. Where's the rest of it? I thought it was there. Did I mess it up? I thought there was another line. No. Oh yeah, there is more. Okay, well. And then she goes on. If you don't believe this, how anybody could have followed my channel for a year and came up with a definition of me that was sold, and you missed the whole thing. What in the hell is she talking about? And you missed the whole thing. You just missed it, or you just can't. There's something about it that you can't look. And anyway, that's it for now. My husband coming in, and I don't want to be ranting here, but rant over. I'll be back with more of my happy delights. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what is going on. I have no idea. Is this it? Let me see. No. I'm reading. I'm trying to find the other page. Oh. Where is the video? Hold on. There was a video of it that I must have lost. Oh, here. Oh, that's another one. There's a lot of transcripts about her ranting about me. Her rant has been deleted. Is that it? The 3 transcripts and a few choice images. There was a video of it somewhere. Hold on. 19 days ago. Just had a video. Ranting in the bathroom, ranting in the bathroom. Maybe I lost it. Oh yeah, it's privatized now. I don't know if they're talking about this Michael Kiefer, who's a journalist, I guess, and she went after him for a while too. Wasn't just me. She's been after other people. I literally just had a video and cannot find them. That's when I was like, oh, here it is. One day ago, it was playing. I just didn't know it. It's only 25 seconds. It's only 25 seconds.
This video, and
let me get this louder. This is not very loud because it's a screenshot video.
This video, and put my citrine necklace on. I'll show you my cute new sweatshirt because I'm going to that cookie party tonight. But yeah, anger has a place in this world, and anger is a motivator. And I guess I was motivated to say something. Like I said, this is not going to be the flavor of this channel at all, but I had to get some.
I think that's all they had before she took it down. So that's that. I don't think there's anything else. It's just so sad. I mean, they're literally screen shooting everything. Anger has a place in the world. Anger is a motivator. It's only 25 seconds. I thought about wearing a hair turban, but I thought that would have been a little too much. Yeah, that's all I see. I saw others, but I don't spend time looking for it. But anyway, to me, that wasn't as much of a rant. Maybe it's how she said it. To me, that wasn't as ranty as I was hoping for. I ranted more than that. It's really disappointing. Oh, it's so funny. Can you put content creation over public safety again? Off-topic thread, rules over the... Oh, here. Okay, here we go. Let me show you this one. Present. Okay, let me start at the beginning. I don't know what she's, I've never listened to it, so I have no idea what it says.
I was ambivalent about it. And I confessed it to my
She
husband.
talks really fast.
And it's because last night I was ambivalent about it. And I confessed it to my husband, you know, who obviously knows everything. And he's like, he just does one of those, you know, when people know you really well, they just have to deliver like one question. And he goes, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, I'm pretty sure I don't want to do that. So, yeah. But I got the rant out. And what I realized this morning was sometimes you need to get a rant out, but you don't need to leave it out. You just need to get it out. You don't need to leave it out. So I thought, no, that's not the flavor. We're not going to stay on that topic. We're not going to, you know, whatever. I got it out of my system. I've been holding this stuff in for a long time. It's you know, so much discipline in discretion, and I'm an oversharer. So, you know, this is a big, big lesson for me. And occasionally it just overflows. But yeah, if you didn't catch it, don't worry. This video, and put my citrine necklace on. I'll show you my cute new sweatshirt because I'm going to that cookie party tonight. But yeah, Anger has a place in this world, and anger is a motivator. And I guess I was motivated to say something. Like I said, this is not going to be the flavor of this channel at all, but I had to get some.
Patty's live is pure chaos, 1010 entertainment. Now we just wait for KCL's epic part 2 pending hubby's schedule. Bless her heart. I think that's it. I think that's all I have, as Roberta Glass True Crime Report would say. That wasn't as bad of a rant. That was kind of disappointing. It's just, I felt like that fell flat. Yep, that was a Reddit notification. Definitely an overshare. She needs a good shrink. Oh, she does. That's the rant, but I just don't think it was very good. I think it fell flat. Can we all agree that just wasn't really a rant? There's got to be something better at it than that. I never let anyone post public photos or videos of my child when he was a minor. I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, people steal them, and once it's out there, you can't do anything about it. I wonder if she ever gets. I wonder if she gets on her own nerves. She went after other victims of crime and content. Was it? Did she say that? Am I just missing it? Well, let me see. I'll take another look at that Reddit. I gotta hand it to them. That was fabulous. That they are that fast. That's incredible to me. Oh wait, maybe. Oh, people are pissed. I just pulled it up again, and people are pissed at her, like about her daughter, or the stepchild. I don't even want to say her name because I don't think it's fair. I didn't even know her name till this very second. I'm like, I thought she'd come at me harder than that. That's what she said.
My last flower delivery. That was really. I'm just leaving my last flower delivery. That was really funny. I'm telling you, if you guys are ever looking for a hobby or like a volunteer job or whatever, offer to make deliveries for a flower shop. They often need somebody. Like Susie was going to have to close her shop to make these deliveries today. And I said, hey, you got anything work for me to do tomorrow? Not work, but anyway, I can help out. She goes,
She really is not driving, is she? She's really not driving. She's really watching her phone and staring at herself.
She'd have to close the shop, and I got to make these deliveries. So I'm leaving this house right now in a neighborhood that I have always wanted to go to. I see it from afar. I see it from the highway, actually, these homes, because they're way up high on a hill. And I've just never had an occasion to come back here before. And so, that's one of the cool things about delivering flowers. One of the many cool things about it. This is just such a charming little cul-de-sac up on a hill I'm at right now, is that it takes you to places that you wouldn't otherwise go to. And oftentimes, because we're in a kind of a rural area, I'm driving out into the boondocks, because she has a pretty broad delivery range to make deliveries. And then of course you're just making somebody's day. So I just went up to this, and this woman was sort of disoriented when she came to the door because she thought I was coming for a visit. And so she invited me. I don't know if I looked like somebody she recognized or whatever. And so she's like, well, come on in. Nobody invites you in when you're dropping off flowers. But I came in and I thought I'll just set them down for her. And then she's like, she was like greeting me like I was a guest. And she goes, now, who are you? And I was like, oh, I'm just delivering these flowers. I don't know who they're from. They're coming from Susie at the Blooming Rooster. Oh, Susie. Oh, they're from Susie. I'm like, well, Susie made them, but somebody ordered these. She was so surprised that somebody was sending her. And it was the cutest thing, you guys. It was a little tree that Susie made out of branches that she put in Oasis and formed it in the shape of a tree and then put a little blue lights on it. And I don't know, it just was so adorable. It smelled really, really good. But it was just a funny delivery because I thought any minute she was going to like invite me for coffee, or something. It took a while for it to sink in that like, oh, this is just a flower delivery. And then her husband calls while I'm there saying somebody's at the door because he got it on the Ring camera. I know, it just was a very funny little delivery. You never know what kind of encounters you're going to have, but it is such a beautiful thing to be just over and over and over making somebody smile. I mean, I spent the vast majority of my working career all day long dealing with people in pain. And in basically every kind of job that I did, from even back in the nursing school days. And so it's just nice to be rounding my life out with like this job or whatever that's just all about making people smile. And this weekend I get to do a wedding with Susie. So I'm going to be around.
She does beautiful flowers. I'll give her that. Girl can do some flower arrangements.
For a while, having this puppy has kind of gotten us grounded here for a little while. And so that gives me more time at the flower shop, which is amazing. We had this whole conversation this morning about the math involved. I need to talk to Lil about math because she's had some issues with math and like how much you don't realize how you might need math skills for whatever career you go into, because I'm telling you, running a flower shop like that or a flower service, being a florist requires primarily freaking math. Math is such a huge part of it in terms of what you order and how perishable they're going to be. And you might be making, a bunch of different bouquets, but they're all, expiring at a different rate. The flowers, it's really mind-blowing how much math you need to use for that. Restaurants too. We had this whole conversation about that the same way. Like
she might be able to strike me, but I don't know. But it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I don't know. Can you just strike for just talking to a camera? I mean, where's the copyright in that? I don't know. I don't know if she says anything important.
Just over personal favorite and calls me. It's like, yeah. But, 25, I think I did it. So, but I had so much on my tray that
nothing else important. She's just talking about. But the idea that she's just driving like that. Lord have mercy. But she can do some badass flowers. I've checked. I never could stand watching people driving and filming at the same time. Parking lots are just a suggestion. That's what I said. And if she keeps it up, we may be watching her defense in court. I know. She's not even looking at the road at all. Very scary. And if she's in Pennsylvania, which she may or may not be, what did she call Susie? What did she call the Blossom something? I don't believe it's made up. I believe she's really... Stop it. Really? It is a made-up character? I still don't understand how she complained about photos of her stepchild. She probably had to cover it. Like, if you posted my child, like and then that happened, I would be so upset. It's not her child. It's her stepchild. But her flowers are banging. Like, I looked at her old website on the archives. It's fabulous. Is it a coincidence that the florist's name is Susie? She may be making up a name so that she doesn't like blast Susie. A bark collar might improve the rant. Ooh. She's going to kill someone while she's preaching. This is so dangerous. I know. A dog is not just a dog, Pamplemousse. Your pets are members of your family. I know mine is. Mine tells me what to do all the time. I've often thought that my mother is reincarnated into Roscoe because he gives me looks like my mother would give me, mainly like, Patty, you can't possibly be that. Hold on, someone's at my door. Oh, hi, how you doing?
Doing well.
Come on in. Do you need me to move my truck or are you okay?
I think I'm good. I just need to grab a ladder.
Yep, I was told I'm here.
Okay. I can't assume you were told.
No, I know you can't. You gotta turn the light on. Yeah, the second light. Thanks.
I thought you had really dark windows.
I do. They're RV curtains. Keeps out the sun. I'm like a mole person in here.
Good story.
Sorry, there's someone coming to pick up a big ladder. Yes, right in the, I don't know where the ladder is. Susie was a character in a remake Patty story. Get out. I say that all time Dior just looks at me like my mother-in-law passed. See how I'm thinking. My mother told me not to name Roscoe after her father. So there might be that. It's illegal in almost every state. It's illegal in Florida. It's illegal everywhere. Who is it? It's Mike Womble. YouTube says hi.
Hi, YouTube.
Bye. He's a friend of mine. Picking up a ladder. It beats the toilet that walked past here that one time. We were having the toilet changed down here.
Yeah.
And they were on and they were like, did the guy with the toilet just... See you. Objecting to viewers watching saying hello to other watchers on a channel is like a child who wants to be another child, only bestie. She has childhood issues. She does. And that's where I feel empathy for her. I do. He is adorable. Same as Mike Womble, his wife's Janelle, they're friends. Oversharing about her stuff. I would believe it if I saw the flowers. I would not go to a stranger's home, but I'm in South Florida. I would if I were delivering flowers. Men typically don't walk fast. He doesn't. My husband does not walk fast at all. Yeah, maybe it was Katie Kool-Aid. I don't get flowers here very much because I'm in a warehouse. Most people don't even know where we're at. The funniest was when I thought your husband passed behind you in a bathrobe. Yeah, I remember that too. That was funny. Who makes people feel insignificant, JJ? Here in the Netherlands, it's illegal to be on your phone on your push bike, let alone a car. Police wait around in the morning and actually enforce it. Hello, Rebecca. How are you? She doesn't even try to hide it. She comes out and says it as nobody has ever had pain like she has. Well, you know, it's just not true. It's just not true. There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of people who have loved ones that were murdered that never been found. Crystal Rogers, domestic violence. Suzanne Thompson. I don't believe they'll ever. Suzanne Simpson. I don't believe they will. Is it Simpson? Yes. I don't believe they'll ever find her body. I don't believe he'll ever give it up. Crystal Rogers. Never found her. They keep digging. They keep hoping. They keep turning up pieces of land. Never found her. I mean, I think that's worse. I don't know if it is or not because it hasn't happened to me. But I would think that the not knowing how your person died and it's just got to be awful. And then you got to wait to declare them dead. It's just awful. Jeff Chu says, great memories of Doug Flutie and the Hail Mary. bling. I bet she's really an Uber delivery person. She goes. I don't know why I get a tinge of nervousness when someone knocks on Patty's door when she's on a live. We never know. I had a YouTube subscriber come to the door. I shared, it was like, 2 weeks ago? She was coming through from Destin area and driving back home to South Florida, and she stopped in, and I didn't know who the person was. She'd sent me an email saying that she was stopping by, and I thought literally I was getting a subpoena. I was like, okay. Opened the door, and she was her. It was like so sweet. We stayed for a while, chatted. Any podcast that go from talking about percolators to murders is number one in my book. It's funny. Coercive control. Hello. She would not have a problem with the content being made public. That's why she posted it online, right? So people could see it, right? Yeah, well, she'll probably have a problem with it. I think you missed my earlier post. I want to be a wrench wench. I did. I just have to thank the fine people of the detention center who bring me all up to speed on the latest. Hello, Hospice Jess. How are you? Ooh. Murder says filming a video for YouTube while driving is a massively boomer move. Well, you can do it so that, but you got to keep looking at the road. I just don't think it's all that important. I came home and made a fire. It's cold. Patty, as long as you can post a comment every now and again, she can't strike. That's fair. Hi, my father's alibi. I have a question. And I'll put my email in again. What my question is, if we email or we send a letter to the DA, is there any content in the letter to the DA that you want us to hit? Anything specific? Susan Powell was never found, and the house was blown up. Horrid. My father lost 15 members of his family and doesn't use it for sympathy. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, JJ. The stepdaughter she rambled about in the video is the same stepdaughter that KL said she had to delete her entire 7,000 sub channel to protect her safety. Again, that's a choice. That was no one's fault but your own. And my problem is, if what you're saying is true, that people were running for their lives because of other YouTubers who were not even close to you. Because when I call law enforcement, they're like, well, is he out the door? Is he right in front of you? No. Okay, well, we'll write it down and take note. I mean, I have a case number, but that's all you get. Angrily going after Patty, me, and Allison is pitiful. And Roberta Glass. Get actual professional help. You need it. Well, she doesn't need all the job because she has money. I mean, if you have money, it's like, it's not a gambling problem if you're Michael Jordan. It's not a gambling problem. It's gambling. My son was murdered. Oh my God, hey Jude. My son was murdered. I'm so envious of people who actually got justice. I never feel sorry for them because at least they got justice. See what I'm saying? That's how like Sherry Rogers, Crystal Rogers' mother, has been beating the pavement. Will be going on 11 years before this trial starts. 11 years. That's why I'm like, for Brad Thompson, to be murdered on a New York City street is absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific, no question. But how many people in the last couple of years in New York City have just had their throats slashed by strangers or knocked unconscious, just punched out, knocked unconscious. And they don't even try to search for that person. They're not even attempting to look. But because this is the CEO of some publicly held company, it's like, ooh, gotta go. Everybody, all bets, we gotta, every place we gotta go. And I don't discount that that man had that benefit. I discount the fact that no one else has that benefit. Bothers me. You're still waiting for Wendy to be arrested, right? Oh, where's Markel? Yes, she knows how Dan was murdered in his own home, in his garage. A sitting duck who never had a chance. And I didn't realize that until I was outside the property, standing on the street. And it was so hedged on both sides. A reason to take your hedges down, people, so you can hear and see what's coming. And had no idea. It was a sitting duck. They parked behind him. He had no place to go. He was in his car. That missing, the body of the missing Ole Miss student was never found. Oh, I mean, there's tons and tons and tons. I mean, you look along, there's always, not always, but there's a lot of shows about the I-10 murders around Houston. And those girls are just buried, you know, they're probably hookers. And they're just buried without anything. Just nothing at all. By the way, I watched that movie about the dating game. What was it called? The Girl of the Hour? Was it The Girl of the Hour? Woman of the Hour with Anna Kendrick. Mind-numbingly uncomfortable. Like, that show, I thought that movie was well done. And I was so uncomfortable when Anna Kendrick was walking across the parking lot away from that guy. I thought it was very well done. But he was a freak. Her former in-laws are wackier than her husband was. I think she's in one of the caverns somewhere, like the kids said. I was trying to be diplomatic, but I have no faith in the profession. KCL can't accept permanent responsibility for making a mistake. Nobody is upset at KCL because she's a homicide victim. They are upset for other reasons and how they're treated. I don't think that being a homicide victim, which you're not, you're a family of a homicide victim. I mean, semantics, yes, but you are not the victim of the homicide. Your family member was the victim of the homicide. Too close for comfort for me. I mean, but for the grace of God. But I don't understand. And I told you, I've been attacked. I was assaulted brutally on a city street, horribly. And I just can't sit and think about it all the time. I think when you sit and think about it, or you make it your career, it's not healthy. There's got to be another way to make a living. And where's the book? I mean, you would think, I was told by my therapist after my attack that actual writing and journaling was really important because your body, something happens from the brain to the hands. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what they told me. And I did it, and then I threw it away because I didn't want to have it. I didn't want to sit and think about it all the time. Who knows? Yeah, those two boys were killed in a burning house after their father took a hatchet. Ooh, I know, I don't want to say that out loud. JJ says, I offered her a piece of jewelry to use for a fundraiser. Online, she ranted that her husband told her not to help. Stop. I remember you telling me that. It makes me twitch. Police best advice, speed. Do you have a comment? It was. That's what he said to me, and he was so handsome. Isaiah. That's police. He was like, do you have a gun when he came here? I was like, no, I don't. He goes, got one. I was like, thanks, dude. Oh. I watched a new doc and psychologist hooked on to Chris Watts and said because their mom defended Manson and she is allowed to practice. Oh. I'm so sorry you've experienced the worst thing a person can experience in a lifetime. I hope you feel that, Ray. I mean, you don't have to tell me here, but why no justice? And it all started with an owl necklace. I know. Sherry Rogers breaks my heart too. She is a strong woman. I mean, she may not be on the inside. She may be just mush. But on the outside, she's a strong little woman. She was so smart to get every news organization involved. She said in the beginning, she would be on every news thing she could. Every little bit of news. I hope John O'Keefe's family gets justice. Karen Reed is evil ASF. And the Markell family gets justice. We need Wendy in prison. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't. And I don't know that it's not that law enforcement doesn't want to arrest her. It's that the prosecution doesn't want to arrest her. I'm glad you brought Wendy up because I had something to say after yesterday. Was that I just think the time, I mean, that's why I was glad to see Donna look good. Now, a couple other people that I saw last night, and I think subscriber was saying it too, was that she didn't look good. I'm like, I thought she looked good. She looked a hell of a lot better than Melody Ferris. She looked a hell of a lot better than that. But so all those attorneys there, I saw one of the sheriff's deputies, one of the bailiffs, and he said it was case management week. And those were all private attorneys. They weren't public defenders. So they're all there and they just have quick status management hearings. So it was nothing about Daniel Adelson. They just chose to do Donna's first because of media. I also became friends with RM, and then she told people online that sending RM gifts was causing RM stress. Yep. I saw that Australian kids under 16 are not banned. They're just going to lie about their age. Thank you so much for asking, Patty. The important information is, all right, I'm going to take a picture of it. So what I have to do is take pictures of things, otherwise I won't know. The important information is Nancy Galvani, body dump, San Mateo, Foster City. Okay, so that stuff. You don't want me to state anything else other than what I think. Okay. I remember her scolding people and telling people how they could and could not interact. I don't understand this. I don't understand it. Does anyone else remember the rant just before Donna's trial? She said she wasn't there for anyone else but RM and that people should not talk to her if they see her in Tallahassee. Sorry. So ridiculous. That's how she was to me. I mean, she was so uber rude. Can Ahmad put up Allison's channel in the chat? I can't. Yes, Ahmad can. Tennis, can you do that? Does she have, I don't know. I haven't watched her. I mean, all I watched was that with my friends. Sorry for my bad typing. Your 90-pound dog is on your lap. Well, damn, Raven. You're lucky to breed. She was. I don't think she is. Ruth Markell, Tennis. It's Ruth Markell. My son went missing for 21 days. We searched high and low. Signs in every post. Oh. When they found his body, it was a relief. Better to be found dead than to be missing for real. Like you think, my thing is the Bundy case. And with the Bundys, there's still bodies that were never found, bodies that were taken in by the counties, where they found pieces of the remains, then they lost the bodies, they lost the remains, families had to sue. It's a mess. Patty, your hair is looking fabulous. Well, thank you very much. She was asking for buy me a coffee, and I offered her a piece of jewelry, a ring with a big silver heart to help her raise money. It was not my fundraiser. A self-appointed handler and advocate of all homicide victims. When she got so angry at people offering her advice, the hurricane, I knew she was mentally off. I forgot about that because I have my own hurricane to worry about. Yes, I remember her instructing people not to engage with her in Tallahassee. Reminds me of celebrities who have in their contracts you cannot look at them in the eye. I didn't know being on Web Sleuth made you a celebrity, but who am I? Who am I? Goodness gracious. Homicide victim terminology is used to close family members of someone murdered. Interesting. But I just don't want, and I'm not you, Allison. I have no idea how you feel. My family members are dying off, but not at someone else's hand. Unless you consider, a drug dealer. I just couldn't call myself a victim all the time. And I don't think you do. I just couldn't do it. It's my opinion. She told all her followers that she was not interested in meeting anyone new. Well, then why do the meetup? That didn't make any sense. Because she already had her friends from Charlie's trial that she was going to see. Then she says this out loud. Then a trial postponed. Just tell people that you're busy. Just tell them you're busy. Did people not know how wealthy she was? I'm not faulting anyone, but why do people give her so much money? She's like a televangelist, right? Patty has an important point. It's dangerous to re-victimize yourself every day. So this is what my therapist said, because I had to go see someone, because I was literally losing my mind. Like let me tell you, I have nothing to lose. I'm 57 years old. I was disassociating. I didn't even know what disassociation was. I was 22 years old. And no, it was before I had Molly. So I was 20 years old when this happened. And I was seeing myself. I was walking down the street, just minding my own business, doing my walks. And I could see myself over my head. I didn't know what it was. And I went to my sister, Teresa, and I said, Teresa, something is wrong with me. I get very verklempt when I talk about it. I can see myself over my head. Like, I remember being petrified. Like, am I going to die? This is crazy. No one had known what had happened to me. I didn't tell anybody. Law enforcement, my boyfriend at the time that was a Temple football player, my roommates. And I don't know if anyone in this group has ever disassociated, but I'm walking and breathing and alive and seeing myself over my head like it was a near-death experience. And I was like, I am going to die. And that's all I kept thinking was, I'm going to die. And this is the Lord telling me I'm going to die. He's just not telling me how I'm going to die. And I was like, what? Something is wrong with me. And she had no social work or any kind of experience. She worked at a law office. And she was like, you got to get help. Like, there is a problem here. And I still haven't told anybody. And that's how I met my ex-husband. He was a social worker. And this sister called my other sister, and she's the one who called Bruce, who then became my husband, which is completely inappropriate. But obviously I wasn't in my right mind because I could see myself over my head. And so it took years of therapy because I couldn't understand. I still don't. So this is what they finally told me. And I did a lot of EMDR and tapping, a lot of tapping. EMDR is the thing that saved me, guaranteed. Was if you're constantly saying, I was assaulted, we'll say that. I was assaulted, I'm a victim of assault. They said, I don't know if it's true, that it like you get a scar in your brain. And all you're doing is feeding the scar. You're feeding the scar. You're feeding the fissure. I call it a fissure. You're feeding it. And you're constantly reliving, not reliving and saying, I'm safe. I was a victim and now I'm safe. You're not saying that. You're saying, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. And you're just replaying in your head. And I would lash out. I had rages. I was losing my head because I could see, I was completely disassociated. I didn't remember things. Like I was getting a split personality. That's what I felt like. Obviously it wasn't true, but that's what I was on the path to if I didn't get the right help. And it was bad because when I was giving birth to Molly, it pain, so bad. I had natural births. I didn't have any pain medication until the third child because I was afraid of getting a shot in my back. So I didn't do it, which is probably best in the end when I think about it now. But I would disassociate myself and I didn't feel pain. And so when I told my therapist that, I was like, I didn't feel as much pain as I probably could have because I just went above my head and I could do it. I still can do it. And they're like, don't do it. They're like, Patty, don't do it. And I was like, why don't you do it? They're like, because it's constantly replaying in your head. When your body is disassociating, you're protecting yourself. So you have to actually, again, go through the pain, feel the pain. It sucks. Pain's horrid. Life shits on you. And then you get through it. But if I constantly said, that's why I absolutely repel that. I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. They never caught my assaulter. They never caught him. I'm a victim, I'm a victim. What am I going to do? I wouldn't have 3 relatively normal children. I wouldn't have the job. I wouldn't have Scott. I wouldn't have businesses. I wouldn't have any of this if I sat around and said, I'm a victim. So that's my thing with that. And it's me. I'm only speaking about me. But I do believe in EMDR, and I do 100% believe in tapping and tapping. I don't know why it does, but they're supposed to rework your neuropath. It could be all hocus pocus, but whatever that hocus pocus was, it worked for me. And it took, I would do it one time for a few months and then let it go. And then I would start feeling that way again. I would go back again and I would go back again. And then it just kind of went away and I don't feel it anymore. But I could, if I were in tremendous pain, I would 100% lay there and disassociate. That would be a choice. Like so much pain, I couldn't take it. But I just don't want to use those words because I think it just makes the fissure grow. And I don't want to be in that. I want to be not a victim. Because the last therapist I had, her name's Patty. She's here in town. And she's the kind of therapist that you only go acutely. You're not moving in with it. All right. You're not going every week for a year. She's very clear about it. She doesn't want that. And she has a line out the door because she's very clear and there's very few people that are like that. And she looked at me one day as I don't think anyone else I would have tolerated the way she looked at me. And she looked at me one day and she goes, how in the hell are you a victim? I wasn't saying that, but she was just reminding me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, how in the hell are you a victim? Look at you. You don't tolerate shit from anybody. I was like, oh yeah. And then she goes, if you were a victim, you would tolerate shit from me. It's just part of the culture in your brain that grows when you're constantly in victimhood. And I'm not. And so she just helped me be a little bit more self-aware of that. And I haven't seen her since. So she looked at me and she was like, who the hell are you? She get right in my face. EMDR work, people. She really pissed you off that day. I went and watched her for a more clinical perspective. I think everyone needs a little clinical perspective once in a while. I may do it to myself all the time. Please don't mention the book. She has the audacity to travel my state to write that, whatever the hell it is. Well, maybe it's just a journal that she'll have to self-publish at some point. Douching me up. Yeah, don't douche me up. Friends did not and could not fly in, so then she wanted to do a meet and greet. Oh, totally ignored hurricane preparedness information and went on a rant about unsolicited advice. How will I handle it when you see her at Donna's trial? Like I handle everybody else that I don't know. Just keep walking. She was that way when I first met her, and I've shared that. Then it was like not Tim Jansen. I think John Steinbeck said, oh, she's from Pennsylvania too, Patty. And I didn't know John Steinbeck. I didn't know anybody. I was just an observer. And I was like, oh, I'm Patty. I'm from Pennsylvania. And she did an about face right away. I'll never forget it. So I just kind of would do that. I just forget. Also referred incidental victims. That's horrible. I don't think they're incidental. Like my sister, I won't I have a family member. I'll be very careful who I say it is. But I have a family member who lost her husband and 2 children in 2 years. She has no one but her friends and her brothers and, well, mainly her friends because they're all separated. She lost her husband in a weekend from an acute illness that no one even knew he had. She lost her daughter shortly before the husband died, and then the second daughter shortly after the husband died. How she is still alive is beyond me. She knows where they were. She knows what happened to them. But I'll tell you what, that woman is not a victim. She didn't, I mean, literally, how are you going to live? You lost 3 members of your family, your children, and your husband in 2 years. I mean, oh, but the heart of Job. She had the Job factor. And she did not sit around and say, I'm the victim, I'm the victim, I'm the victim. She just didn't. It took her a long time to leave her house, as it would anybody. But other than that, she just breathes through it. I mean, she is just, to me, in my life, a monument of when you think you have bad going on, she's a monument to me. Like, it's not so bad. And they were young girls, not older. I wasn't attacked. I was just inferred. I was inferred. Not all of that info will get into a character limit of the chat. Okay, thank you. Hold on, this is someone, my husband. Yeah, what's wrong? Are you okay? Yeah. It was a female, and I know, but I'm on YouTube. Is that okay? I got it. I'm going to take care of it. Okay? All right, bye-bye. Cool beats. She didn't let people in Jacksonville know about a meet and greet. That wasn't nice to people who wanted to be in the celebrity. I am a homicide victim. Thing is, a cudgel to silence us with us at that point. It is a cudgel. That is a great word. It is a great word. It shuts people up. Because what are you supposed to say? You're not? It was a while ago I was threatened. Not recently. It was a few weeks. Very wide mean streak. I just don't, and while Wendy's out there living her best life. Exactly. I think Donna looked the same, but quickly got frustrated when the judge said to take her downstairs. She did. She didn't want to go back in her cage and having a hard time walking in those shackles. She definitely was upset. Because I asked. I asked last night. I thought she looked good too, though. She didn't look at all Melody Pharisee. Possibly mention what is the response to the Foster City PD recommendation to pursue charges against Patrick Galvini, both in 1982 and in 2014. Has DA reviewed the most recent? Okay, I will. I really shouldn't be snarking. It's not a good look. I just really thought she'd reach out to make amends. I just don't understand. It's so easy to do, and maybe it takes practice for some. I know. Galvini's false alibi and many admissions in the phone call recorded by Foster City between Allison and Patrick. I haven't asked for that cudgel. People do that, though. It's not just her or other people, because people don't know what to say. And I'm going to upset people. White people do not deal with death as well as minorities who face death on a regular basis. Like if you went to, let's say, Syria, and you were driving around Syria, and you know, and you found out your white father died in the UK, and you see what happens there, it's just not the same. People who experience death on a frequent basis and have a different, maybe religious outlook with death, deal with it different. And it just is what it is. But what do you, if somebody says, my great aunt was murdered by someone, what do you say? White people aren't going to know what to say. It's like this lady sitting next to me at the hearing yesterday, African-American woman, a younger girl next to her. They appeared to be related. I don't know what their relationship was. And she looked right at me and she goes, to Donna Adelson. She's like, she's fine. She's fine. She said to her, a girl who's with her, she said, that woman had her son-in-law killed. She's fine. She can get across there. It's very, very Patty-esque. Like, she'll be okay. I'm going to do dinner with friends. Have fun, Rebecca. It was good to see you last night. The most disturbed families I've met are full of psychologists and control freaks, which I think is the same. But I'm telling you, I mean, I just know that I had a couple therapists along my journey that was a short journey because I was insistent on it being short, because I didn't want to spend all my time in a social worker's office or a therapist's office trying to fix my brain, that I wasn't at fault for the situation with my brain, but I could constantly see myself over that. It's the weirdest thing. Constantly make videos making fun of her escape from Hurricane Helene. Well, it was to destroy our entire community, I know. Thank you, Rebecca. I just found out myself. Hannah has been found. Really? Banned safe. Her family says nearly a month after she was reported. Ooh. She did. Found after Mexico border crossing and month-long disappearance. Good for the family, because that's going to be a mess. You're waiting on the verdict for the old mess. That should have been 5 minutes. But anything that anyone think might be persuasive would be profoundly appreciated. Well, I'm going to ask ChatGPT, because that's how I do everything right now. That entire block of videos were offensive to all of us who live in the path. I know. I'm very sorry. I just saw a video today about one of the larger lakes, Lake Lure. I'm going to mess it up. In North Carolina, it was just horrific. I know, but it's funny, Claudia. It's so funny. I mean, that rant really fell flat on Reddit. I thought it was a lot more severe. It really fell flat. I should do a live with her interview with Trisha. You know, I was looking at that. I was looking at that, and I was looking at, because on Reddit, there's a Trisha lady. I was looking at that. The best thing I ever heard from Bancy was, oh, did she? Tell her I said thank you. No one engaged with her listeners better than Patty. Wow, that's nice. And then she probably turned around and cut me in the back. Oh, she'll do another video, or she'll try to get me on copyright. I don't know. It's fine. If you love our Playhouse comedian Murder Maestro, hop over to sub him. Please do. I've taken psychedelic drugs and never achieved that result, Patty. I'm telling you. EMDR. So there's a couple ways of listening. Do an EMDR. There's just the tapping, kind of thing. But she had me listen. I had headphones, and it would play some sort of ping at some level. Like it was ping, like really light, and then it would get bigger and bigger and bigger. And what you were supposed to do was think about whatever traumatized you. And when you hear a ping, I think that's how it went. Whatever you had to think about or talk, I think I had to verbally talk about it, which was hard for me. And when I heard the ping, I had to hit the button. That's what it was. So I had to hit the button. And what it would, she said, and I had a few people that did EMDR, but it was the last way that worked the best, was the headset with a ping. And she said that it blocks neural pathways or something. I don't know. Ping headset. Classic pulsators and headphone is what it's called. Hand pulsators and a headphone versus eye movement. That's, oh, I forgot all about that. So the whole thing with EMDR is eye movement, right? So it's, what is the definition of it? Eye movement bilateral simulation device. Oh, I remember a long time ago, there was someone that had like a stick. Oh, my fingers bent from arthritis. Just noticed that. But anyway, they would do the stick in your face, right? And they would have something in your face. Here's my lip gloss, Sephora. And they would do this thing, and you would have to talk about whatever traumatized you. And they would just like do it back and forth. It would be slower, and then it would be faster. And it was, I don't know how it worked. It worked for a time. Years later, I meet this Patty. She's here in town. Someone recommended, oh, my dietitian, Freddie K, recommended her. He read it. He owned the building, and she was in the same space. That's how it was. Freddie K recommended her. And so I had these headsets on, and it was like some thumb thing. And you, when you talk about it, and then you hear the ping, you hit the button, and then you do it again and again and again. And I went in for several sessions, and then that was it. I know you don't, but I do. I know you don't, and you don't have justice, which is a very different lifestyle. This person in my life doesn't have justice. For her one family member, she doesn't have justice. I think that's a very different lifestyle and a very different path. But you do have to go through the phases of grief. I believe you're not healthy emotionally. You get stuck in an even phase. It sounds like she's stuck. I believe that for myself. I think family members after my parents died that are stuck. Unfortunately, even though death is a part of life, it's still, you know, my mom died of COVID alone in a nursing home, so we didn't see her. You know, all we got was her ashes in the end, and you don't see it. So it's hard to grasp that reality with the real reality of all I have is an urn of ashes. She had no money, couldn't keep a job. She inherited money, plus her husband is a psychologist. Yeah, I was married to a social worker, and it just was not a good feeling. If you think Patty is funny, show it and smash the like and describe. I included a story to evidence of my letter and said pictures of your mother. I thought I had to tell it the same way I saw your mother's case. Thank you, Rosemary. That's amazing to do. What is e-move? Okay, what is it? I know it's eye movement, something. Eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. A psychotherapy technique that helps people heal from trauma and other distressing experiences. You focus on the memory, I wasn't wrong, while simultaneously moving your eyes back and forth, listening to alternating sounds in headphones, or tapping your body like this. They would tap knuckles or something. That was a longer time ago, and is intended to help you reprogram. This was years ago, before the tones in your ear. EMDR is based on the idea that traumatic memories can become stuck in the brain, causing emotional and psychological difficulties. The goal of EMDR is to change the way the memory is stored in the brain. Francine Shapiro developed EMDR after noticing eye movements could reduce the intensity of disturbing thoughts. Clinical trials have shown that EMDR is effective and can help people heal faster than other methods. I mean, mine was still years. I mean, it was before I got pregnant or met Bruce. So it was probably, I know the day. It had to have been 1987. And I mean, so it still took forever, but it was periods of time. I don't know. I thought it was amazing. I thought this last time I was like so much better. I could sleep at night. I had hope. I know is when you disassociate, it will freak you out. I just didn't even know I was disassociating until the shrink told me I was disassociating, because that was some Freaky Friday stuff going on there. And I was surprised people believed me. I didn't think, what's it say? Disassociation. I can't even spell it. Dissociation after trauma. I didn't even believe that anyone would believe me. I couldn't believe they did. It's a natural reaction. Dissociation, not disassociation. Dissociation is a natural reaction to trauma that can occur when someone feels disconnected from their thoughts, memories, sense of identity. And I had no idea. Dissociation is a mental process that can happen during or after a traumatic event. It can make someone feel detached from their surroundings as if they're watching the events from a distance. How it happens is the body's way of coping with overwhelming emotions and distress. It's an instinctive survival mechanism that can occur when someone perceives they're in danger and can't fight or run. When it can happen, dissociation can occur in response to a single traumatic event, which was mine, or prolonged exposure to trauma. It can be linked to a history of abuse, neglect, or trauma. What it can lead to without treatment is dissociative disorder, dissociative disorders that include amnesia, depersonalization disorder, or dissociative identity disorder. And it recommends EMDR, which is what I had. Crazy. But if you don't know what's happening, man, you do think you're crazy. Trauma survivors experience a higher rate of dissociation and may utilize it as an escape. And it works in childbirth. But my doctor said not to do it again. Oh, I think he's going to use some defense like this insanity, which is probably true. Words are powerful. He will blame his spinal hardware. I thought the same thing about the Markel rabbit hole comment. It was very dismissive of a crime in families she previously complained to care about. What is that? Thank you, Carol. Appreciate it. Patty, the book, The Positive Shift, is a book that talks about breaking the cycle. Also talks about people that are survivors and thrivers. And I think sometimes you do need a therapist like Patty who can just tell you what you need to hear. The coddling is just not helpful. And it doesn't end. The trauma, obviously, you become a different person after something like that happens. And I can remember, being pissed because it changed the entire trajectory of my life. I was pissed by it. But I got through it. Satan took down humanity in the garden using words only. Ooh, yeah, true. I've been feeling a pain all my life. When does it stop? When you tell it to. When you tell it to. Mia and my father's alibi. Is she still going after you guys directly? Hey, Jude says you have to ground yourself. That's a benefit of cognitive behavioral therapy and talk therapy. It's really bilateral stimulation. It works on people who are blind too. That's crazy. Have you ever had that, Carol? Have you ever experienced EMDR? You believe in white knuckling? What happened to you? I was a crime victim, 100%. On the streets of Philly, which I love Philadelphia. Doesn't stop me from going there. It doesn't stop me from doing anything, really. I mean, I live a pretty risky life when you think about it. Still, you have to guard your mind sometimes from your own stinking thinking. Debbie, did you see that above? From your own stinking thinking. Also, vagus nerve stimulation. Dr. McCullough started tapping on his website. I don't think it's hocus pocus. The brain can 100% be redirected. But I'm glad whoever that original person is, which I don't even remember their name, I'm glad that person gave me a physical description so I could think about the brain being different than what I originally thought the brain. Like I could think about the brain being tangible. And then if you were constantly chopping at the brain, this is what saying I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. It's like you're just chopping at your brain. You're just nicking it, nicking. It's like that thing where you say bad words against someone else. It's like taking a 2x4 and hitting the 2x4. You can't undo it. You can't undo that. You take a nail and you tap it, tap it, tap it. You can't make the board whole ever again. Just like they're saying bad words, damage you and hits the board, hurts the board. And that's how they explain the brain. There was a tangible, and I constantly telling myself the same thing over and over again. It's like I used to, well, it doesn't bother me anymore, but I'm fat. People are like, Patty, you shouldn't say you're fat. But I'm like, I am fat. And if I don't say I'm fat, I'm going to go back to like 310 pounds. So for me, that's a little bit different. I don't take it as I take it as a motivation, not as an abuse to myself. But for some people, if you constantly said that, you would just go eat. Like you would just be constantly doing this. I'm fat, I'm worthless, I'm fat, I'm worthless, I'm fat, I'm fat. I don't have that. I don't have it anymore. But I did. And I think it would really benefit. That's where I have empathy. It would really benefit those who had a shitty life to be able to go get that fixed and truly get it fixed. Like fixed. So you don't even think about it. I only think about it when I'm on here. I never, ever think about it anymore. It's just not even a thing. And it doesn't hurt me. I mean, I don't want to talk about it because it's like, oh, and I have other people on here with it twisted around, right? But other than that, I mean, it doesn't, I'm desensitized to it. It's not something that I remotely, I don't have dreams about it anymore. I believe because I've researched, I believe the person is dead of their own doing. Like they were just horrible people and karma got them. So I don't think about it other than here. And I think it's a lesson to learn that it can be fixed in a way that you're just like, oh, okay, that happened then, and this is now, and I can't keep going back there because you can't keep going back. And then I have this wonderful priest, Father Tom, who's, he's not knowing he's talking to me. He was preaching one day about focus, and he's talking about his own life, and he was really having a struggle. He talks about his parents' divorce being a real struggle when he was a teenager, and he was like, he just was praying and praying and praying, and it's just got to get better. Like he was really struggling with it, and he said, I believe it's the Holy Spirit. He said he got a thought in his head, and it was focus on today. And then he kept thinking something else, and it came back, focus on today. And he learned to focus on today because he felt like the Holy Spirit was telling him to focus on today. If you're focusing on today, you can't think about August 20th. You have to focus on today. And that's how I try to live my life. Is I did it before. I just didn't have words around it. And now I'm like, if I worry about something, like it wasn't going to get past my certification, focus on today. You can't worry about tomorrow. You could be hit by a car. So focus on today. And so that's how I manage. She has not come from me directly that I know of. She does it like chicken shit way. with hyperbolic stories about other people. Yeah, there's a few of them out there, right? That's my challenge for 2025. It's a slippery slope. You're not even aware you're doing it sometimes. I believe that. I believe you're not even aware and you just kind of fall back into it. I really do believe that, Yala. I always say to myself, Tater says, would you say this to your best friend that you love? Then don't say it to yourself. Oh, I would tell my friend she's fat. That's the difference between me. The no talk to me in Tallahassee became a reality, right? Norla. What a name. I like it. You got to be persistent and evaluate your thoughts all the time because those thoughts are slippery suckers, especially when you have no confidence. And I go through it. I mean, I think we all do. I have no confidence. I had no confidence that I was going to pass that certification. The only way I knew I would pass that certification is if I practiced every day. And I had to let other things go. I had to be willing. That's the word. I had to be willing to let other things go, to concentrate and focus on today, to practice those tests so I could get the certification. But it had to be a balance. I had to give stuff up to be able to do it. The florist is the blooming rooster. That's what she said. I'll tell you what, that Katie Kool-Lady, I mean, if you go back in her heart space store, whatever she had some beautiful flowers. Even if people only have time for a quick call or email, it can only help. Thank you so much. Well, you're welcome. Thank you, Carol. And thank you for validating what I said. I appreciate it. We are under attack. I just bought Spurgeon's Spiritual Warfare to read on your vacation. Spurgeon's Spiritual Warfare. Well, I believe I was going through it about Easter time till now. I really do. I believe I had a massive spiritual, and he laughed at me, the priest, he laughs. Listen, a lot of things I say. And sometimes I'm not trying to be as funny as I think I am. But I said that to him. I was like, dude. That's what I call him, dude. I felt like when I started going back to church every day, like it was really getting bad. And then all of this happened and the threats, and I'm like, God, what the fuck is wrong with me? That people are just coming at me, bro. Like at me. And he was like, you let yourself be open, Patricia. You let yourself be open. That's what's going to happen. I was like, okay, at least I'm aware of it. I could do something about it by focusing on today. So if other people say things about me, I don't care. I really don't. I just don't want to be, I guess threatened. Don't threaten me. Like with my physical, I will lash out now for obvious reasons. Patty, why does she have to travel away from her husband all the time? I don't know. Oh, it's funny. My father's alibi. I needed to show how your mother's case impacted me to act. I felt showing a timeline and some evidence with your mother's picture gives a complete story. And Rosemary is very good at that. I think he travels. I think they have separate homes too. I mean, I think he has a townhome or something that's not together. It's a 4-inch book. He suffered from depression, so he has good insight from suffering. She couldn't possibly turn up to Donna's trial, should you? And don't call me Shirley. Airplane reference. I don't know. I mean, she's welcome to come. She's welcome to come. I'm not going to be a bother to anyone. So she's welcome to come. No way she's turning up at Donna's trial. She won't face Patty. I mean, I wouldn't go to another meet and greet with her. That's for damn sure. But I'm not going to. It's a courthouse. I'm not going to be rude. I'm just going to do what I would do to Morgan Honeycutt. Go in the bathroom. But we were talking about her. We were talking about her at the hearing. Bunch of people out in the hallway. We're talking about her. It was funny. I said she flew all the way from New Mexico to block the bathroom for Wendy Adelson. Isn't that nice? So funny. Everyone processes trauma differently. It usually isn't helpful to compare traumas. No, it isn't. I only talked about myself. I just felt like maybe that could help somebody. Has she said anything about the trial date? Mm-mm. I don't know, because I didn't watch her. I only watched her through Reddit. Now I'm waiting for the public courtroom. There won't be one. I'm not going to jail for her. Same Lolly. She's gonna feel. I feel like we need to go represent the DC. I think she has friends in Tim Jansen, and likely, that Joel from STS is just such a gentleman. Stephen Cohen is such a gentleman that I can't imagine that they would not be a gentleman. They're just a gentleman to everyone. Oh, but the heart of Job. I love that saying. Thank you, Hey Jude. That's what I feel like. She just had the heart of Job, because how do you survive? And she did. I was just talking to a pastor about suffering, how some seem to breeze through life and others constant trial. What doesn't kill you make you stronger? And what makes you oblivious? I think a lot of people have a depth of, I wish I had, obliviousness. And maybe if we're born, I don't know so much about your signs, but I am an empath. I do feel other people's feelings, and it is difficult for me. Scott and I were talking about it today. He's like, would anyone really believe you were an empath? But I am. I really take it on. Really do. It's so hard. But I think some people are just oblivious. They just go through life doing the best thing they can. I can smell crazy a mile. Not directly and not recently. I believe her Susie and Melissa story was about Mia and me. Though, so sometimes she's talking to us without talking. I'm going to have to look that up, because I don't know anything about that. What doesn't kill me makes me grateful. Amen, Eric. I mean, but it is, when you lose, I know what happened to my parents, and I'm still never, ever going to be over it. The idea that I'm an orphan, okay, even my parents were 84, the idea that I'm an orphan now can be, if I sat there and pondered it, absolutely overwhelming. And it was, maybe you all who have suffered a loss, family loss, would know this. I don't know how I should say this so it doesn't make me sound completely insane. I felt closer to death, like I could accept my death, knowing my parents were on the other side, more than I ever thought I could before that. I felt, well, that's the next step, like in the cycle of life. Weird things. I go outside, I'm smoking a cigar, I'm looking at the stars, and I'm like, Will, all that stuff's done. I'm like, if I died now, I could completely be okay with that, because my parents are on the other side and I would get to see them again. You should not say everything you think, Francis. It's funny. It's very similar to something like Alcoholics Anonymous, in that you surround yourself with other victims. It can be unhealthy, and there's strict rules in AA groups to deal with that. I don't know enough about AA, but I would think, I always get nervous when I hear people say they got married, they met each other in AA. Sounds weird. Sounds not weird, like mean weird, but like, should that be the thing that you do when you're trying to overcome alcoholism? Notice Patty doesn't panic when hubby comes around and she's on YouTube. I don't. Cudgel is a great word. He does have Roscoe in his lap. But when I go home, it's Patty time. Donna did not enjoy being sent out of that room. Nope. In front of everyone. I think that was part of it. I just thought of that. Gladys. Because when we got there, she was already in the room. So there wasn't all those people, and it wasn't all the media. I just thought of that. I think we all need a sponsor. I'm not being mean or whatever. I really do. It'd be nice to have that person. The guard was so kind to Donna the way she walked her out. She really was. But do you think could have been her upsetness? Is that she had to go and there were all these people like on Donna? Well, Charlie did warn Donna what it was like. I thought she looked good hunched over because of the weight of the leg irons, belly chain, and handcuffs. I don't think she wanted to be seen. The same grief groups. Sometimes it's more depressing to hear others' grief if you're an empathetic person. I had a friend lose her husband and went to grief group, and she's like, I can't do this. She just couldn't listen to it. And there are people that have been going to the grief group for years. Like they didn't seem to work their way out of it. Dude, I remember they didn't make me go, but my original therapist was like, you really should go to a group. Dude, the last thing I wanted to do was tell my story to 15 strangers. It was horrible. No, hey, mofo ho. No bark collars ever. None. She's playing a victim. I just got off a phone call with a friend who's, oh my, I'm so sorry. She has 3 children. She is asymptomatic. You know what I'm saying? My father's alibi, she talks to people or about people without directly talking to them. She makes references to things Patty just did in her show. So I wore a shirt that said love. She wears a shirt that says joy. Grief leader here. Wow. That takes a special person, man. Good for you. I didn't know hospice gives a family member a year of individual counseling. They do. Someone recently told me that her husband was in a hospice. Yep, they do. Fancy Fiction was definitely watching Patty's Playhouse, texting me in real time saying she wasn't part of a triad. Really? Do your own thing, Fancy. I mean, that's my thing with her is she is talented. I don't understand it getting clicked up, like getting in a click up thing. It's not my thing. But she was talented. She was. I think she needed to expand her crimes. I don't know that just living off of the Dan Markel crime was ever going to be effective. You know, I didn't want to be pigeonholed into one crime. I mean, even if I don't do this forever, I still wanted to learn more. And you can't learn more just on one case. Control your mind or it'll control you. Thank you, tennis girl. Did she want to be found? I don't know. Maybe she ran out of money. That's horrible about that woman. I'm so sorry. Did work for her until it didn't. Enough of hating. Hey, Stone Girl. Thank you very much. Rosemary, if you want to see my letter, I believe Murder by Maestro is posting it on a community board. Thank you, Murder. We never heard of so much sickness when I was growing up. Me either. My parents' friends were never sick. I never did either. My dad, I know my dad changed when his best friend died of cancer. I believe it was oat cell lung cancer, if I recall. And it was so quick. And I know, my sister and I were talking about it. He was definitely a changed man after that. She was on her way to meet Luigi Mangione. Hannah. I know, having lost my mom at 66 to lung cancer, it's never easy, and none of us know when our last day on earth is. We all got to live like it's our last. Poor kids. Patty, the crazy woman in the bed next to me in the hospital with drug-seeking behavior is so weird, is a psychiatrist. She kept on saying her name. Looked her up. Doctor reviews. She was crazy. Dude. They monitor other live streams and comments. I don't even care. Bye, y'all. Take care, dear. Take care. Girl's in her 30s. It's my daughter's age. It's like Rebecca here lives local. Shelly does the day of the Veterans Day parade. Woman driving her 2 kids to be in the parade. Hit by a car. Head on. Done. Son next door dies the next day. How that husband got through that funeral, I have no idea. He did. Bilateral stimulation is what it's called. Thank you, Fairy Glam. The Melissa and Susie video and other related ones is what led to, the brilliant pink elephant. Here in Western North Carolina, I'm fine, but many not before power and cell service out. I really couldn't understand her meal planning after really not relevant. So many still intense, I know. I mean, how much did don't even get me started on the federal government, because you know I'm a libertarian. But FEMA spending millions and millions of dollars, and like 4 people have a mobile home. That's it. The Amish had to Asheville. The Amish come in to build little homes in North Carolina in Asheville, and code comes around and was like, no, you can't have this. Are they freaking kidding? It doesn't have to be the eye movements, but traditionally it is the eyes. For me, it was the eyes. I don't know why, but it did. Other bilateral stimulation works. What else would it be if it wasn't for the eyes? The signals are like channels in the brain, are like train tracks, and you're getting the brain to jump the track. Thank you. She thinks many in this community are Melissas. Well, I have friends who are Melissas, so I reject that. You had to have actually seen it. She writes, every time Patty talks about her, how would she know if she wasn't watching Patty? She says people text her or email her and tell her, right? Everyone is calling her. Everyone. She has to be a better flavor than that. That's so funny. That rant was flat. I mean, I know she can do better than that. Grief is complicated. KCL threatened to sue everyone. She has money. She is telling everyone to watch themselves. Sounded so Philadelphia. I have posted videos of the drainage ditch Ashford Apartments and McCord Park behind Trescott where hitmen were seen. That's right. You're the one who told me that they rebuilt the area after I went to Trescott. It is sad. What's for dinner? I don't know. We had Mexican for lunch. We went out for lunch, my husband and I. She instructs others to become involved and presents that she's taking the high road. Well, I'm taking the even higher road because it's just comedy for me. It really is. It was only what's his face that, happened to be just a complete ass. But she's just comedy. I really do. Okay. I have a friend whose ex-partner, big co-parent, was an alcoholic. And he fell asleep and he bled out. And he was like 35 years old. Bled internally, dead in the night. They just thought he was napping and couldn't wake up. If you've ever worked in hospital or in a nursing home, you will find that an alcohol-related death where you're bleeding out of your throat or you're bleeding out of your stomach because you develop varices, like, is horrible. Ascites, throat, where the thinness of the varicose veins in your throat can bleed out at any minute. Alcohol-related deaths, to me, other than brain tumor or like ALS, there's like rankings in my brain, is horrible to watch. Horrible. Drinking that much, even when you say you're not, is absolutely a horrible death. Ascites, it's when your belly, when you get all this fluid around your liver and they have to tap your abdomen to get the fluid off. And they can only do so much at a time. And you all have all this fluid and you eventually just drown in that fluid. Girl, you don't want to drink after you see a bunch of that. Patty, do you have a gingerbread man on your earrings? Yes. They're Betsy Johnson. I got them at Marshall's, not TJ Maxx. I got them at Marshall's because I had a reward certificate. So that's where I got them. Patty, not being able to say goodbye is as traumatic as it gets, that you feel stuck. I don't think it's the death. I think it's not being able to say goodbye that takes longer. I agree. And I noticed my children, I don't know how my nieces and nephews, I have a whole bunch. I don't know how they did, but I know my children really suffered with that grief from my parents. They were very close. I had a roommate doing that therapy, and she was a complete basket case. I'm so sorry. I hope she came out of it. Patty, there was more to that rant. That's why she deleted. Oh, I missed it. It's because she rambled on about it. She consulted attorneys regarding potentially taking legal action against members of the community. Again, you are a public person. I looked at the law because I like to read. So there's a Florida defamation law, and Florida is one of the more difficult states to sue for defamation. Under Florida law, the elements of defamation claim are the defendant published a false statement about the plaintiff to a third party, and the falsity of the statement caused an injury to the plaintiff. Border Collie Rescue v. Ryan. A plaintiff must also prove that the defendant's fault in publishing the statement amounted to at least legal negligence. The elements of the defamation claim in Florida are similar to the elements discussed in general defamation law. Mid-Florida Television Company versus Boyles. The Florida Supreme Court ruled that the state no longer recognizes presumed damages for defamation per se in lawsuits against media defendants. Here's where it comes. Defamation per se refers to a legal doctrine which holds that some statements of fact are so egregious that a court will presume that they harmed the plaintiff's reputation. The CMLP, whatever that is not aware of any Florida cases. Is not aware, I think it's DMLP, that's a spelling thing, is not aware of any Florida cases deciding whether a blogger or non-traditional journalist is a media defendant for purposes of applying the rule. In cases involving matters of purely private concern, a Florida court could still presume damages based on defamation. In Florida, a statement amounts to defamation if it accuses the plaintiff of committing a crime or imputes the plaintiff conduct, characteristics, or a condition incompatible with the proper exercise of his or her lawful business, trade, profession, or office. Florida is a broad conception of what a public person is, a category of government actors who must prove actual malice in order to prevail on a defamation claim. Florida Supreme Court found a police officer to be a public official where he was highly visible, representative of a government authority who has power over citizens and broad discretion. Smith versus Russell. Florida courts have found that a corrections officer, an administrative of a large hospital, who you wouldn't even see, a harbor master, were public officials. Criminal libel. Florida still recognizes criminal libel. The statute does not define the elements, but it does specifically prohibit false statements that harm a bank or a financial institution reputation, or accuse a female of being unchaste. to the extent that the statute remains criminal libel, is a first-degree misdemeanor. However, Florida appeals court found, which deals with anonymous defamation of individuals or liver, to be unconstitutional. Here's the article. It's from a law office. Privileges. Florida courts recognize a number of privileges. Blah, blah, blah. Substantial truth. Opinion and fair comment privileges. So if you're putting yourself out on YouTube, people are allowed to comment. The fair report privilege and the wire service defense. There is also an important provision under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act that may protect you if a third party, not you or your employee or someone acting under your direction, posts something on your blog or website that is defamatory. We cover this protection in more detail. It's hard. It's a hard thing. I think they want to make it a little bit easier on people to sue for defamation, but right now it's hard. I can't blame anyone for being stuck, but don't use that to be dismissive to others. You're not better than anyone because you experienced trauma. I think it does change your life pattern. I mean, I go back to Charlie Manson and Sharon Tate's family. I mean, it was a life. But how is that different from the Markells? We're going on, 10 and a half years. It's a life. And then, what case were we watching? Oh, it was Lake and Riley's, where the judge said, so perfect, that the judge said Lake and Riley's, I think it was the prosecutor, said that Lake and Riley's sister was going to inherit this crime after her parents were long gone. And she would inherit the after effects of this crime. I was like, damn. She has her comments turned off. I don't know. Who watches her now? People on Reddit. Who watch her? People on Reddit. I find it difficult to feel sorry for her. I know, but it's just me. It's not that I feel sorry. I just feel like, God, get out of it. You're a grown woman. You're pretty smart. You were a nurse. You were a masseuse. You are somewhat articulate. Like, get out of this cycle. Like, she's on top of everything going on in Patty's chat. Makes it like she's above all the chaos. And she's not. She's not. Was this the video from today? I didn't know there was a video from today, Lolly. Mia, that she consulted attorneys, Debbie said. Didn't she say attorneys reached out to her? I used to feel, maybe still do, feel shame for my trauma. Ooh. Gosh. I'm so sorry. You don't need me to tell you, because I think you're amazing, period. There was a kid last night who received an award. He's a football player. And they told his personal story. I was surprised. 12 years old, he was put into foster care because his parents were a wreck. And he had to go to a group home. And the group home is called Inspire. And former FSU player, Adrian Curry, started this group home for boys. And so he's been in that group home since. And he's a star athlete. And he goes to school. He has a great grade. He had to learn everything because he really was never taught. And what he has done to decide, to make a decision that he wasn't going down the path of his parents and he was going to make something of his talent was truly inspiring. But that's the name of this group home here. I'd never even heard of it. Inspire. KCL could at least hit the like button if she wants to spy. It's funny. Completely unable to grow up. I know. I heard last night that she got an award for Prosecutor of the Year. Let me see if I can find it. I mean, no one told us that when we were there last night. Yesterday afternoon. I don't see it. It was on Reddit 23 hours ago. Under the Dan Markel. Her name's Georgia Ann. They haven't made an announcement on here yet, so good for her. I mean, she deserves it. I think you're correct that attorneys have reached out to her, given that she has no grounds. I don't see why on earth the attorney would reach out about it, but award in Florida. It must be. I just don't see it yet. Did you hear me yesterday? There were all those attorneys in the courtroom, and I was like, it's so unusual to have all these attorneys and not have cocktails. Because they usually have our place has like the Florida bar has like a happy hour once a month or something. I read one of her blogs last night about her losing her BFF when she married the shrink. She called him that? She never accepts responsibility. It's always someone else. She's lost a lot of people in her life. And what attorneys are on Reddit reading about KCL reaching out? Nobody. You want Patty to be your therapist? Oh, fairy glam psychologist. No, you don't. Because I would just tell you. I would go back to the Bob Newhart. Stop it. Oh, he announced it on STS. Thank you, Debbie. As to why Georgia was absent, accepting her Prosecutor of the Year award. It's amazing. Mia, that's why I think it's not true. Is she suggesting it's TJ or JR? Would they do this? I mean, Tim Jansen probably wouldn't. I don't know about the other one. Patty's Playhouse, not being able to say goodbye and be there for your mom as traumatic as it gets. I think that's why you feel stuck. Oh, I don't. I mean, I did feel stuck. I don't now. But because of COVID, we couldn't bury her. You know, it was a bitch. But I really think my kids got there, and my sisters definitely got there. Unless attorneys are reading Reddit, then what an ambulance chase for that would be. Then contacting her and how to respond, and she's reading Reddit and contacting attorneys. You might get kicked out of we need more Lindas and less Melissas. Well, she tried to apologize, but then she just like completely negated it in another format. It does take years to truly adjust to the loss of someone. I know I saw my mom in my phone. She's number one. Is that weird? I mean, you can't call her number, but she's still in my phone. I haven't done it yet. She explains why it's not healthy to feel disappointed in herself. Coffee talk. Let's talk about disappointment. Don't get stuck in someone else's disappointment. You did reach out, Debbie. I did it. A video she made specifically aimed at this community while claiming she doesn't read what anybody says or write about. It makes literally no sense. That literally makes no sense. How would you know what I'm a Melissa, would be saying if you didn't watch? Trauma changed you, BS. I feel family and friends have a hard time dealing with change. I know. I have fun dealing with change. Like, I thrive on change. Unless it's the loss of a loved one. Because you lose someone said, I was probably on TV, that when you lose your parents, you lose your past. But when you lose your children, you lose your future. And I kind of believe that. And I'm such a sentimental person. Holy Spirit talking to him, and it's difficult to learn how to not stress over these things you cannot control. I'd like to see that one. Thank you, Eat with Candy. It was a lot of work. You are not your thoughts. Her flowers are very pretty. I do. How do I become a member? I think that is where the admin come in. It's too bad we can't see the list of 250 people watching. Yeah, you can't. Oh, Carol says, I love hearing you talk about giving up things to give you the time to study. I'm in a similar place. It was really hard because I want to be present as a broker for my agents, for our agents. I want to be present at home. I want to be present with Roscoe. I want to be able to go out to eat, do everything I normally do. I couldn't. And I had to tell people I can't. That's really hard to tell people I can't do what I would normally do. It's very challenging. Like I said, you know, even here, I said, I'm busy. I can't because I had to practice. Oh, thank you, Anne-Marie. It's very kind of you. She says, I'm an inspiration and a gem. Who doesn't want to be a gem? Thank you. Oh, you press the money icon right beside chat and least on a laptop. I did it a few weeks ago and joined. Job had a spiritual attack. They are real. I believe they're real. I felt Freaky Friday all week. Father Rippinger has good info on this. Let me look at that. You can see who press like or angry because I look up angry emojis on a restaurant post in our city because it pisses you off. Let me see, can you? Let me see. Oh no, I can't see anything. I'm not subscribed to her though, so I couldn't see anything, you know. I just wanted to see. Daddy, thank you. I'm behind because I'm driving in a snowstorm, but it's not true. Had no money and couldn't hold a job. She was an independent woman for her own on decades. She was a small business owner. She was, I mean, she did have a massage clinic, therapy office. Oftentimes, as a business owner, you're told you can't keep a job, which I'm honestly believing that. Like, I believe I'm not as hireable as I would like to be. YouTube isn't letting post that link directly. If you want it, as a fantastic synopsis and how much she hates this community. Mia, could you send it to me in Facebook Messenger or to my email? I found the redundancy of Al-Anon to be more harmful to my mental health. Like the more often I went and heard other stories tell their sad stories, the more I felt stuck. I think it'll be hard. That's the one I was playing, a flower delivery for Susie. We don't even know if it's true. What is it, Blooming Roosters? Which I hope it's true. I mean, I hate to be driving around pretending, oh, Lewisburg, Florida. So they must be at the townhome or near there. Lewisburg's not far from Harrisburg. Just normal florist choice. Premier florist on Bloom Nation. There's no page configured. See, people need to really watch their websites, okay? Piece of advice. If you have a link that's supposed to go to a page like Florist Choice, you want to make sure that link isn't broken. You need to have someone check your website on the reg. Just a little bit of advice. Because that could kill a sale. Read that book. It's no joke. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Let's pray for her. That's what I should focus on. My flesh is weak. I give into criticism. I didn't know her as well as many of you do. Didn't really follow her. I don't either. I just think, don't come at me, bro, because it's not going to be pretty. I think she's going. I don't know if she still do a jury show or a trial show. She will go because Ruth will be there. Now, you got to pray for Ruth Markel and Phil Markel's health. If you're a praying person, that's who you need to pray for. I think they're almost 80 years old. I'm not quite sure their age because you can't look up Canadians so easily, but I believe they're close to 80, if not 80. I think that's who we need to be praying for. Linda, Susie, and Melissa video is on her way to channel dated 2025. Oh, look at that. Thank you. Oh my God, it's 7 o'clock. Dude, who knew? God, it's been like 2 hours since Mike Womble came in here. The decapitation video, specifically targeting Patty and other, was beyond disturbing and in the name of J for D. I know, it's horrible. We need more Lindas and less Melissas. It's her big, well. Can you play this video? I can if I go to YouTube. Hold on. I have to go to the channel, and I think I can copy and paste it. Paste it. Okay. 6:30. Says, welcome to the live chat. It's not letting me. Oh, I need to go to the whole chat. Hold on. The mods need my cell number. It's in the notes, YB. My cell phone number is in the show notes. Oh, here we go. I'm going to pin it and go to the top. Open link a new tab. Oh, it's a membership link. Okay, yes, I can do that. Hold on. Sorry, it took me a second to figure out how to do it. No, that's not mine. Hold on, that's the wrong link. Is it not letting me do it? Here it is. YouTube is touchy. Where's Eric? Eric was here and he left. So this right here that I just posted is the YouTube link. Where's Claudia's? Hey, Jude, I've been crying today because I'm at work until 7 a.m. and we're at presents for the kids of our clients because their parents can't afford gifts. No, it's so hard. It saddens me to hear you say that you don't think Wendy will get arrested. I trust your judgment and just has to happen. Not going to her mom's court appearances. She sucks. I mean, you got to pray for the health of, as weird as that is, Donna Adelson. I think Mr. Phil said in his victim impact he was almost 80 at that time. So brought my husband home for hospice, had no help, finally gave the okay to bring him to a hospice facility because I was so exhausted, came home to nap, he passed away. You still feel guilty I wasn't there. Well, I was a hospice nurse for many years, often in the home. And here's what I know. People don't die when you're in the room. It is extremely hard for people to let go while you're there. A funny story about my first father-in-law, who I loved dearly. He was dying of COPD. We're in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. I'm big and pregnant with my son, my middle. And I'm sleeping on the floor. And we were up all night thinking he's going to die, he's going to die, he's going to die. They decided to, so funny, they decided to sing these Baptist church songs. They weren't in a choir, okay? It was not good. It was not good singing. It wasn't calming. It was not good. And I'm just watching this going, oh my God, it's so weird. I was in nursing school at the time, but I wasn't a nurse. And that man, he was a waif. He was so tiny from not being able to inhale. Like, he was dying. He was actively in the dying process. And he sat up. He was out of it, right? So he sits up and he says, I'm trying to die. Please be quiet. And he goes right back to, and that was my, like, people need peace when they die. We want to be with them. But I was often with the loved one when the family wasn't. They would leave, go have a cigarette, do whatever they do. And then the person would pass away. And I had to tell them. It was horrible. Happened to my mother-in-law. We were with her all day. We all went to Giorgio's here in town to dinner because the brothers were there. Everyone was there. I don't know what happened to me. I told you I'm an empath. I don't know what happened. We're having dinner, and I looked up, and I said, I have to go. I had to go. I don't know what made me leave that table at that minute, but I had to go. No one else got up with me. That was fine. They were there. I was like, I got to go. And I was in a rush, and I made every light from here to the hospice house, which my office is close to Giorgio's, and got there. And then nurse came out and said, I think she's dying, like actively dying. And I was okay. And it wasn't 20 minutes and she was gone. And I had to call everybody and tell them. Do you know how sucky that was? But I knew in my heart she would not have been able to pass away if everyone was in the room. She wasn't. So I got to be there, which was a privilege, of course. But it's really hard for people to pass away while you're there. They can't detach. So I don't know if that helps you, if it hurts you, if you talk to other hospice people around you. I know you just went, for you, the last minutes with your loved one. When my dad died, I got to be present, and I sat as far away from him because I wasn't going to leave the room. But I had no lights on. I didn't say a word. I was just quietly praying my rosary on this like window bench, and I just sat there and just barely would breathe because I didn't want him to hear me. And I was just like this. And then all of a sudden he took his last breath, and I was like, oh my God, that's it. And then I turned lights on and faced what I was about to face. But I knew we were so close. He would not have died if I was like over top of him, holding his hand. He would have lingered, and it would have been much harder on him and me in the end. But I just sat there like, don't breathe, don't breathe, don't breathe. That's all I kept telling myself, because it's so hard for people to pass away while you're right there. Happens all the time. I know that doesn't take away your grief at all or your feel of loss because you weren't there in those last few minutes, but it really, they cannot let go. They just can't. They love you. I'm so sorry, Claudia. I'm so sorry. It's the way it is. No one knows what grief is until they lose a child at any age. It's not quite the same. It isn't. I don't think you lose your future. The last 20 years of my mom's life, thought she was 29 back in Germany and only spoke German. Her doctor wrote a prescription for her to have a beer every evening at 5 and listen to her music. Nice. That's a great doctor. That is a great doctor. I had a woman that I took care of here that I forgot all about this until Wesley said it. And she wanted a bourbon. And she wanted a bourbon. She was making her own bourbon, so she shouldn't have been making a bourbon. But anyway, she fell and hit her head. And they were like, well, you let her have a bourbon. Not her, the nursing administration. The family was great with it. And I was like, well, she's a grown-ass woman. I can't tell her she can't have a bourbon anyway. It's not my right. So the doctor wrote a prescription that she could have one bourbon a night. And so then I got the bourbon and I could pour the bourbon and we were all better. But the family really tried to the family supported me on that. So she could have a bourbon. But it is a great doctor who does something like that. It really is. It's very special. I can't imagine losing a child either. Oh, bless you, Lolly. I think KCL's husband was living kind of an edge when first became involved with him. She had a long distance relationship for several years, but once she moved to PA, it became undone for a time. Heimart music is Gaio. Do you believe in people like John Edwards? It's been 6 years. I'm finally feeling something. He was a very special man. I do. But then the back of my mind go, Patty, you're nuts. It's entertainment. But I do. Didn't she sell her business too? I don't know if she sold it. I don't understand how her and her husband don't live in the same home. I mean, I basically live here and Chris is at home. Who is John Edwards? He believes, some people would believe he's a clairvoyant. I don't know. Is he even around now? She died 3 years ago from dementia. See, I know, I go through that. Like my mom's death, I felt like was a blessing to die of COVID, even though it was horrific. The not being able to breathe thing is really hard to watch. But in the end, sure, be watching her linger from dementia, not who she was. I remember the last time she said my name. I was staying with her in the hospital in Leesburg. And she didn't like having a male nurse or a male caregiver. So I was in the room and he was there. And she's like, Patty! I was like, oh, she knows my name. Because she didn't for a while, like 6 months. And I was like, oh my God, she knows my name. I was like, Lord, she knows my name. But she was screaming for me for help. And she was screaming, Patty, clear as day. I was like, you know my name. Have you been faking this? So we had talks about it. She didn't know what I was saying, but it was so funny. She really didn't like having a guy. I don't know. According to Bible, foreteller of events is illegal to entertain. I go back to what's her name? Who was the guy who did? I don't remember anything right now. Who did? What is his name? What is the name? Stop it, Patty. Helena Bottom Carter. So who was she married to? And they had separate homes in a tunnel underneath. And I was like, that's the way to go. Helena Bonham Carter. And she was married to a brilliant director, and they had homes, and there was a tunnel underneath, and that's how they would go to each other's home. That's all you can do, Ivy. But you still wonder, right? You still want to know that they're okay. So when my mom died, and then I'll let you guys go. When my mom passed away, I really struggled with it because I wasn't there, and I was so angry with the nursing home for not calling me sooner. You know, they waited till I'm 4 hours away. They waited till our O2 sats were 80 and then called me and asked me, this is what they say. Ms. Wilson, what would you like me to do with her? What do you mean with her? What are you talking about? It did not go well from there. And for her, didn't go well at all. So it really struggled with anger at this nursing home staff for being just inattentive and obnoxious, especially since I'm the one who picked the nursing home. So I had a little bit of guilt over that. And I had a dream one night that my mom was probably about 10 or 13 years old. I don't know, but she's always very thin. So I remembered her with really dark hair, and which I, of course, I'd never even really seen a photo of her at that age. But in my dream, she was there. And she was very lanky, and she was just fine. And she had this hair, and I'm not kidding you. So this is what happened. It's odd, okay? So she's in this dream, and she's moving around, she's talking, she's like, everything's fine. And then she's in gets weirder. She goes to, obviously, some sort of funeral situation where they're taking my grandfather, Roscoe. He died when she was 5. She did not even remember his voice. And that's when I started on a mission to find people, because I wanted to know what the man looked like. And because she didn't even have a photo. So I was on this mission. It took me years, and I did it. But this dream, his casket is being raised. Like they were going to, what the hell they were going to do? Move him, something. Anyway, the dream is they open the casket, and Roscoe had been hit on the head. He worked in downtown Louisville near the University of Louisville, and a piece of heavy equipment, he was working on a silo, fell on his head and he was killed. But he lived for like 18 hours. Horrible death. So he lives for like 18 hours, brain injury, horrid. And he's out of the casket, like they're moving him for some reason. And his head was fine. Like all my stories, I was like, he's fine. And then my mom, in this dream, she sees him and she's like, oh, okay. And then she runs off. She just runs off and she's fine. And that was my dream. And I was like, she's whole. That's what I woke up with. I'm like, she's whole. She's fine. She's whole. And after that, even though I'm teary-eyed about it, because I think about it, she was fine. And my thought was, she's whole. It's not odd, but she was whole. And that was it. Didn't have another dream since, unfortunately. But I was like, oh my God. Because all I wanted to do when she died was go to sleep. I was like, I'm going to go to sleep and dream about Mom. That was like my intent, was I'm going to go to sleep and dream about her. I was like, all the time. I'm like, don't disturb me. That's what I tell you, Chris, don't disturb me. I'm going to sleep and dream about my mother. But after that dream, such a gift, such an amazing gift. I can see it now. She had a printed dress, like little socks, like little ankle socks, like bobby socks kind of thing. And she just ran off. And I woke immediately up and I was like, she's whole. She saw her father and she's whole. The weirdest thing. But I felt so much, I could be all made up in my brain. It could be just completely faked me out. But it was so much better afterwards. It was so weird. And then I just stopped. There's those things. There's weird things that happen to you. We need I know, but my mom was whole. She was whole. And you know, you think she didn't have a father. She didn't even have a stepfather. Her mother didn't marry until the girls were all out of the house. And so she didn't even have really any father. She was put in foster care for some period of time, but I don't even know when. But that's when I started, like, I'm going to find people. This is what I'm going to do. And because I wanted to find him for my mother. Because when I found him, and then I found his death certificate. She looked at his death certificate. This was just like 2 years before she died. Because I completely turned my video off by accident. But I was like, what am I going to do with her? I need to find this for her. It was my intention, not hers. She was living her best life without it, but I was going to do it. But anyway, when I found the death certificate and I gave her the death, I was like, here it is. She said that all the stories in her life that she told about her father, because she thought he just ran away. Like, she didn't remember it dying because she was like 4.5. So she just thought he ran away. Like, he went and got a pack of cigarettes and never came home. But when she saw the death certificate, she was like, oh, all those stories I made up in my head were just not real. So I still know that I gave her some sense of peace that she wasn't abandoned by him, because that's what she thought. I was like, Ima. Her name was Ima Faye. I was like, Ima, you felt that? And she's like, yeah, I did. I never verbalized it because our parents didn't verbalize their feelings so much. That's what she thought. She thought the man abandoned her. I did. But yeah, damn. In your dream, your mom came up to me in an empty mall. I asked if she was okay. She didn't speak. She just smiled. First time after she died, I woke up happy and at peace. Is that just not a gift? I just think it's such a gift. Oh, Frau Patty, your mom's coming back to visit. It's such a gift. And I never, until she died, my dream was in color. It's so weird. It was so in color. Because I never dream. I never remember my dreams. I don't ever have that gift. I always want to dream. My husband dreams all sorts of stuff. Never dream. That I dreamt, and I still remember it to this day. And I just think she's whole. Whenever I'm like, you miss your mom, but she couldn't have lived forever because she was already 84 and she was kind of falling apart. And it's not fair to want her to live forever. Not everyone can be Dick Van Dyke, okay? She was home. So cool. But it was really weird. It was like, God, this whole thing about Roscoe, I named my dog after this man, was the longing. Like, she had that longing, and I was probably, I didn't think about this till now, empathically, like, I was longing on behalf of my mother, who really didn't have time with 7 kids to long for her father, and really no way of undoing it. Crazy. I always dream in color, and they're very vivid. Good for you. I'm jealous. If anyone wants to make memorial jewelry, I would be happy to help you. Could you, I think you've sent me something before, JJ, but you can send me something and I'll post it. I believe that's God showing us that they are okay. It's to help with our healing. I 100% believe that. I 100% believe it, because she can't live forever. And it would have been selfish to say, hey, lady, could you linger some more, not knowing who anyone is and pissing your pants? Could you do that? It would have been completely selfish. So I know it was a blessing that she died the way she did. And she probably wouldn't have died if we were all in the room. She would have been the one to say, too, please get out of here. Please let me die. She was so funny, caustic funny, super funny. But yeah, I mean, you just dream. So I hope, Claudia, that you get that dream that says he's okay and what you did was okay, and taking a nap is okay. And I don't know, the weirdest dream I've ever had because it was so real. Freaked me out. My mother-in-law, who I really loved, came to visit me when I said, let me get Andy, my daughter. She said no, because she wouldn't know how to say goodbye. Don't make me cry. I was the only one she visited, as far as I know. Since your dream was in color, it was a spiritual visit. I think so. That's bling is the new black. A necklace with a blinged out shock collar would be cool. That's funny. Maybe that one dream was all you needed. But sometimes, Fairy Glam, when I can't sleep, I'll go back to that dream. I'll be like, because when you're asleep, they're alive if you can dream about them. I think it's so cool that people can dream like that and get the dream. And I'm sorry for your pain, Snap. It really was, because I don't think about it. I don't sit and ponder it, but it was a blessing, and I know it was. It's just like in your mind. I mean, to say that Andy, she wouldn't be able to say goodbye. I know. Libby's interested. Murder is like something else, isn't he? The mother of a childhood friend who died from a surfing accident. Comforted me when I bumped into her at a shopping mall 25 years later. I held my eyes out as she hugged me. Aww. In old times, people used hair. So when my daughter had to go to Afghanistan, well, actually, when it was before that, when she joined the service, I made her give me a lock of her hair. I said, well, here's the thing. This is my discussion with Molly, selling the fact that I wanted to cut the back of her head off. Is that you, once you join the military, you're a product of the government. And they'll lock you up in a casket, and I won't be able to open it. It's my whole thing, telling this 19-year-old girl that's going to join the Army. I said, so you'll be a product and you'll be owned by the government. I may not get what I need to cope. So I need a lock of your hair now. I still have it. So mad at me. I was like, I'm getting this hair. Okay. Because her hair is so beautiful. Like, there is beautiful hair, and then there's Ollie Mae hair. And her hair is Rita Hayworth, but natural. Absolutely beautiful mane. Wesley dreams. You dream of your mom and dad all the time, and you talk to each other. Must be so nice. Canadian Post is on strike. The U.S. is not accepting mail destined to Canada. I found that out. Some people make new jewelry using inherited gold and gems. Where is Debbie? A murder, a blinded out shock mechanism shaped as an owl might be a nice touch. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That is nice, B Rabbit. It's funny. We all need a laugh, people. Thank you again, Jeannie, for being a new member. I really appreciate it. Someone did, I think it was a membership yesterday, and I missed it. I'm very sorry because I had to leave, so I'm very sorry if I missed it. Jeannie then gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. Bling is a new black, gifted another. Bling, you are amazing. You're amazing. She gives 5 all the time. True Crime Wifey has been a member for 3 months. And what did she write? Videos are better than transcripts. Oh, thank you, Debbie. You're a light, man. She really is. Debbie is a light. She sends me text messages and just reminds me of I say, like, should I say? I just can't believe I say it. Like, I don't even know what came out of my mouth that day. But she is a light. She makes me laugh all the time. So thank you, Debbie, very much. Thank you all for being with me for 3 hours and 39 minutes. It is. It is. I'll let you know if she copyright strikes me. My mother is nicer to me in my dreams than she was when she was alive. Norla. But I always loved her very, very much. Since my disabled brother died, I'm waiting, LJ. That's hilarious. Maybe I can make... What were you saying, LJ? Since my disabled brother died, we don't have anything else. I bet British Columbia is just so beautiful right now. Did I miss something, LJ? I missed it up here. Hold on one second. Let me find it. When you lose a sibling, you lose your past, present, and future. I lost my youngest brother months ago. He had Down syndrome. I'm so sorry for your loss. So sorry. Did he have heart issues? Was it his heart, LJ? I know, we're all headed for this issue. No, it's hard. I'm glad I can still cry about my mom a little bit. YB's Canadian. Oh, there was so many Canadians in the house. In the Playhouse. I should say that more often, but I don't. So sorry. Past, present, and future. Smart. I still have all my siblings. My sister will be 70. It's a lot to think about. Like her husband is 80. Oh my God. I just forget I'm as old as I am. What a fantastic stream, Patty, mods, chatters. I know the moderators. I want to do something for them. I don't know if anyone's still on, but especially Tennis. She's been on with me since the beginning. We need to do something. Okay, so sorry for your loss. They're the sweetest people in the world. No. I still have my siblings. I mean, but that time's coming. I still have lots to listen, Beach Bum. Well, you have a great evening. I went to dinner and you're still on. I know the Jen show. I just can't shut up. Have you peed at all this whole time? No. Since my disabled brother died, I feel like I lost my brother and in a way my child. Oh, wow. As our mother died a long time ago and I felt that role for him. I'm so sorry, LJ. Aww. In my mind, I think I'm 25, but every day when I wake up, my body reminds me I'm 67. And on some days, I feel 90. I'm not allowed to solicit, but I will try and figure out how to extend discounts. Thanks, JJ. Thanks, Lolly. Says I'm superhuman. Oh, buddy. I'm honored to be a mod, and that is my reward. Oh, thank you, Tennis. You're good at it. Mods that really never have to moderate because the community is very kind. Well, that is true. I think it's because we kind of set the rules in the beginning and everyone just stayed along with it. But I kind of miss Bobby, Tennis. I kind of miss Bobby. Thanks for the laughs, Patty. I still haven't peed yet. I don't want to miss the laughs. Oh, it is a roller coaster because we've gone from everything. Have a great evening, everyone. LJ, I'm very sorry. You'll be 70. Lorraine, you're so young. So young. Good for you. Debbie says, I've been with Patty from the minute one with Tennis, when some days we had 5 to 10 people here. I don't want to go back and look. You know I'll never do that. I found Patty right before Charlie's trial, I guess. No, you didn't. Because I didn't come on until, when was he sentenced? The 10th or something? Oh, convicted, not sentenced, convicted. November 6th. So I came on, I think it was November 5th. It was November 5th I came on. Thank you, everybody. Night, Wesley. Enjoy your evening with your family. I'm going to go home and see mine. Take care, everyone, from the beginning. Yeah, I think so. Lolly, member for 3 months, kills me. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye-bye. I'll go home and cry.